Hey guys, it is episode 221 of 4Player Animecast. It is the 29th of April, smack dab in the middle of spring, and we are starting off with our spring 2023 anime reviews. Of course, our second of the season. We're going to have a couple more after this, but we are smack dab in the middle of it. 10:06 p.m., 10:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over in the East Coast of the United States. I am your host, Spire, and of course, with me are my compatriots, Toast. Toast is dead as usual. Near
Hello.
and Dark.
Hi.
All right, well, let's get right into it. Past 2 weeks, how have you been, Near?
Um, I've been all right. I've been all right. Bit stressful, but
Real life stuff?
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I
fortunate.
went and saw Evil Dead Rise theaters with my dad. Um, that movie's pretty good. Pretty good. Um, Big fan of Evil Dead, so very bloody, a lot of blood. Quite a few blood fountains in that movie. Um, Other than that, not too much. Dealing with some real life stuff. I bought and I pre-ordered Jedi Survivor. I played that game
Nice.
for about an hour and then I refunded it because it doesn't run. Um,
You mean like because of system specs, or is it just bugged?
It's
it sh-
badly optimized.
No,
yeah, it doesn't. It
badly
don't
optimized doesn't
run.
even begin to
It doesn't run for nobody.
capture the
It
issue.
runs bad on pretty much every PC rig. Even if you have a fucking supercomputer, it at best runs like okay. Apparently it's like crashing pretty consistently on consoles as well. So yeah, that game was pushed out the door a little too early, I think. Which is a bit unfortunate, but yeah, I refunded it because games are kind of expensive over here in Canada. You
Wait, how
know,
much was it?
it was about $100.
Jesus Christ.
So
That's like $70 ish US dollars or something
yeah,
like that,
yeah,
right? I think
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, games are $70 now, right? So with with regional pricing, that comes to $90 Canadian plus tax, which bumps it up to $100. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, I refunded because I'm not just gonna like sit on a game that doesn't like work in the vain hopes that they might patch it while there's a big burning hole of $100 in my pocket. I'd rather just have that money back and wait, you know. But yeah, so that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Near what? Near, have you had a Montreal Steamy recently?
A what?
A Montreal Steamy?
What is that?
I don't. I thought you would know. It's Canadian.
Montreal Steamies?
Yeah. What's a Steamy?
Montreal. What are these? Is this just a hot dog with a bunch of shit on it?
I guess. Why do you guys call it a hot dog Steamies?
I don't know. What even
I mean,
is on that?
I've heard of a Cleveland steamer. I've never heard of a Montreal Steamy though.
Yeah.
Why is it called the steamy? Montreal
I
hot
don't.
dog
I
with
don't know.
these
You could tell me.
steam. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't think I've ever had a Montreal steamy. Um, but yeah, I have had a hot dog before.
But you know what a Cleveland steamer is, right?
Sure.
Yeah. These two are completely different.
Yeah.
So when someone says, "Hey, you want a steamy
Astute.
from Canada?" Americans will be like, "No, thanks, bro."
Yeah,
Unless you're
heard of.
into that, no kink shaming here.
Yeah, I've
Especially
never
with the
heard of
stuff
this
I've said. So
this Montreal steamy.
okay.
Anyways,
It's very
I think
strange.
that's a tangent that's left for
Yeah.
another time. But anyways, anything on the manga anime end?
No, not really. Just keeping up with stuff. Yeah, mostly just keeping up. I tried to catch up a little bit in vain, I guess, on Jujutsu Kaisen. I watched maybe 2 episodes this past 2 weeks. So that that went far. But yeah.
Right.
But it's mostly just keeping up with the season, which
All right.
there's a lot of stuff to
Pretty.
watch this season, which is
Yeah, it's
kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's pretty varied, so it's pretty good. And
Yeah.
I think there's actually even though there is like a standard amount of isekai, I forget if there was more or less than in previous seasons. It might have been more. I feel like the presence isn't as felt. You know what I mean? For some reason. So it's kind of interesting. But anyways, thank you.
I mean,
Near. What about
it was last season, right? That was like just fucking chock full of this guy.
it was like it was last season was definitely above average, which
Yeah.
was like isekais take up usually like anywhere from a third to like 40% of like yeah, a good third at least I think of the unique series that season. But yeah. Anyways, Toast, what about you? 2 weeks, please.
You want a super hot take? You want a spicy hot take? Right out the gate?
Go for it.
You want my
okay,
hot take
sure.
right now?
Yeah.
Oshinoko is way better than Spy Family would ever be.
That's just because that's okay. That's because you just saw.
I mean,
the
that's
numbers, right?
wrong.
Look at this guy.
But
Spy Family is pretty mid once you actually read the manga. It's only good when there's actual action. Otherwise, it's boring school life. It's mid. Oshinoko though, spicy right out the gate.
I will say.
Are you comparing? Are you comparing like a drama series to a slice of life? Like.
Yeah, I am. Why?
All
Well,
right.
also, Spy Family is a little bit more. Yeah, it's a little bit more. Well, it's not that much action.
Like when they're actually doing spy stuff that involves the whole family, then it's like, damn, this is really good. But then there's like
but that's not the main focus of the show.
There's like 10 to 15 chapters of Anya doing stuff, and I'm like, that's cool, I guess. Then it's like, oh, a kidnapping? Oh, there's a bomb? Hell yeah.
Toast is really out here being like, yeah, this series is cool and all, but I wish it was totally different.
I wish.
Spy Family is definitely a little.
I wish
bit
I could
more
watch
about
something else.
I wish it was more like what's spy? What is it? What is it? Assassin? Not assassination class. What's the
Principal? Or what are you talking about?
Oh, what's the one you covered spy where there was like an assassin school, but it was
but it was like that one tutor. Yeah, it was.
No, not
Spy
that one.
Classroom. Was
Spy? Yeah,
Spy?
I wish it was more like Spy Classroom.
Huh. Yeah, I think those are definitely a little bit different bents. But it is. I think Spy Family does have its own merits. And what I will also say about Oshinoko is like much like a lot of other standard kind of.
How come Spy Family didn't get a 90-minute episode 1? Huh? That says a lot.
I think
Not
Spy
really.
Family.
Yeah,
was,
I mean, it got 2 cores immediately, so
I think I did say, and this will come up in a news article later, that Oshinoko is probably going to end up being the biggest series of the season. But
I mean,
I do think
who did Spy Family? It was Mappa, right?
Dogokobo? No, it was Dogokobo.
No, it was
Mappa. It's Dogokobo.
Was it? I thought it was
sure.
like...
Spy Family? No, wasn't it like Wit?
Wasn't it like
No, he's talking about Oshinoko.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oshinoko is Dogokobo. I know that.
Yeah, Spy Family was that collaboration between Mappa and somebody else, A1 or something like that, JC staff.
Was
somebody.
it Wit? I think it might have.
It was two good studios collabing, and we were just like, if this fucks up, they're all gonna hate me.
It's Wit and Cloverworks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I keep mixing up A1 and
knew
Cloverworks.
it.
Yeah, I mean, two very big studios. So.
The last thing that I watched from Dogokobo was Technoroid Overmind, and that was weird.
Yeah, Dogokobo sometimes gets pretty bad shit thrown its way, but overall, it's had a pretty good track record in terms of like, what it does.
Oshinoko, way better than what's it called? Fuka, way better than Spy
I do agree
Family,
with
way
Nier
better
that
than
maybe it's a little bit of an
what
apples
is
to
it?
oranges comparison.
Yeah,
but-
you're literally out here being like, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen's pretty cool, but I wish it was more like K-On!
Hey,
You know what I
man, no,
mean? Like-
I wish Jujutsu Kaisen was more like Kekai Sensen.
Again, these are two different
Those
series.
are also-
Like, these are two wholly different series. Like,
I don't know. When we bring up Oshinoko, let's see who's in the right.
all right. So how was your 2
Why-
weeks?
Why didn't Oshinoko get the same like hype up as freaking Spy Family?
Spy Family was definitely
That was
is
like- that was
bigger
a
because
lot.
it's the simple thing is Oshinoko is like a niche.
Because Spy Family has
classic-
fucking meme potential. Like,
Well, also
it's easily
Spy
memeable.
Family.
It's viral like almost instantly.
Well, I mean, the viral thing is definitely big, like in terms of the anime adaptation. But even before the anime adaptation, Spy Family was literally
Yeah, I mean,
one
it was
of the
huge,
biggest
right?
series
Like,
in Japan.
Yeah, it was earning awards left and fucking right.
It was literally
huge.
like
It was
one of the
topping
main
charts.
Shonen Jump series. Like
Yeah.
all of the main magazine. It was not like some
And-
random like
If it's
Yuri
so good,
smut
Spire,
like
then
magazine
how come
thing.
I
Like,
didn't hear of it until they did the Hollow Live and Shueisha collab, where Suisei was like, "Oh, I like Spy Family and Oshinoko," so I was like, "All right, I'm in. Let me check these out."
You
I
know, if
apologize
this
for
music is
not
so
being able to
loud,
tell
how
you
come
that.
I have my head in the sand? Hmm?
I apologize. I was not able to inform you of the fact of all of the Shonen Jump manga that is there every month. But yeah, it was definitely it was literally one of the it is I think still or it was until that incident happened, right? With the Spy Family author like with the potential flashing of the girl or
he
whatever,
doesn't
I think.
even like Spy Family.
Yeah, where
hell yeah.
everybody took him out of context. Yeah, that was really
yeah,
cool.
yeah. But before that incident, it was literally a mainstay within the Shonen Jump like main magazine. So it was pretty big.
I don't know,
as
man.
a-
I've never heard of it.
Unfortunate, I would say. But yeah, anything else?
That wasn't even my 2 weeks. That was just my hot take.
Oh, okay. What was your 2 weeks, Toast?
But I don't know. I'm tired. I've been tired constantly
Alright.
since
Mhm.
this entire month. I've been
Running
tired.
around, also doing real life stuff.
All I've been is tired. Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
I don't know. What else? Bunch of funny graduations. You want me to talk about those?
No,
No, not really.
let's not talk
A
about
lot
all
of
the
VTuber graduations.
Yeah,
And gee, I wonder what's happening over there in the correction, the Western VTuber sphere. Good stuff. Good stuff. I don't know.
Are they really graduations? It's more like just
Two,
like
two of them got their
Graduation is
contracts
just a
canceled.
euphemism for general people going away. That is.
I mean,
all
they're
it
not
is.
really going away though.
I'm
They're
talking
like-
about
they're
like
just
two actual
leaving.
graduations, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
there's a bunch. There's two that are quit their contract because they didn't get enough support in quotes. I don't know what's up with
Yeah,
that.
I think that's bullshit.
People
be honest,
will
but-
like, unless they're literally just I mean unless they're calling it like an indefinite break or whatever it is for their health or whatever the hell. If they're getting terminated or if they're leaving for any reason, people will because it's like the whole like idol lingo or whatever Japanese idol lingo. They'll like 99% of the time, unless they have bad PR people, they will call it graduation. That's just how it works. So they could be like getting chased out with a belt like behind their back, and
I
it'll
mean,
be
yeah,
like,
I know
yeah,
that.
it's a
I'm
graduation.
more referring to what it's who is it again? It's Silverbow, right? And the other one.
Oh,
Bebe?
that drama or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bebe.
where
Silverbow,
they're like
Bebe.
they're just
That
like
falls
they're not
under the
yeah they're not
cloud
going
of
away.
bad
They're just not renewing their contracts
Yeah,
with
that's different.
the company. So it's like
Yeah.
like they're not graduating. They're just like, oh, I don't want to be with this company anymore. Which
Yeah, yeah.
again, I think the reasons they cited are fucking retarded, to be honest. But you know, they were out here creating Twitter drama all day, every day. So whatever.
English VTubers. What else is new?
Yeah.
But anyways, other than VTubers, just mainly real life stuff and Toast.
What's it called? There was a fire. That was cool.
That's
I
Where?
love controlled burning
Oh.
near a lake. It was cool. The best part is walking in the smoldering embers. Be like, hey, Guess what?
I
I'm
hope
in
you had a-
California.
I hope you had a mask on at least, bro.
Oh my.
All right.
There's enough ventilation. It's called the outdoors.
Mm.
It's pretty big near.
Yeah, when the outdoors is covered in smoke and ash, it's not good for your lungs. Just gonna say.
Don't worry, near. It's a small practice run of what happens in Canada, or not Canada, California.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. I'm tired. I watch there's shows I watch. Animes. Anime is real. What is it? What did I talk? Oh, Rokudo's pretty good. Keys in an eye. Jesus Christ, how dare you? But they have a different mindset of NFTs over there. So
I mean, what did you expect?
whatever, man. So there's a bunch that I don't. I have a lot to say about Keys no Alio, but I'll cover that later. Yeah, anime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it.
I guess.
Fun 2
what
weeks.
about-
Hold on. The Kamen Rider movie's coming out soon. Shin Kamen Rider. Check it out if you want.
Well, it's out in Japan, right?
Yeah,
You
but
know?
there's an English release date on May 31.
For 1 day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm gonna check it
Pretty
out. Why
cool.
not?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's 1 day, 1 screening. So I mean, sure, I'll take it.
Okay.
It
Anyway.
it
yeah.
says it's gonna be on Disney Plus, but it's like just
Oh,
a
really?
Japan reason, is it not?
I didn't hear that, but that's cool if it is.
Yeah. I'll watch it in theaters. Why not? Oh yeah, Spire. I won't be on the podcast that day.
Is that even a Saturday?
When is
What's
that?
May 31.
The
May
31st? That's a Wednesday, bro.
Yeah, so
That is a Wednesday.
Yeah,
you
no
sir.
Wednesday. No
That
Wednesday
is not a
podcast.
day that
Unfortunate.
starts with the word Saturday.
What about May 18? I won't be there either.
That is
May
also
18?
not a Saturday.
Yeah,
That
that's
is the
that's
Thursday.
Thursday.
18 or 21. Whatever, yeah. I won't be there.
Yeah, 21st is a
21st
Sunday.
is a Sunday, so.
Okay. just
Maybe
making sure.
not even on the correct week. I don't feel like targeting
Yeah.
doing that math.
Anyways, if that's it, thank you, Toast, for your 2 weeks. What about you, Dark?
I've had a pretty eventful 2 weeks. I also played Jedi Survivor. It runs like ass, even though I have a 3090. I am lucky if I see 50 frames per second most of the time, so you know.
But Dark, how's Honkai Star Rail?
Oh, well, yeah, that's the other big thing. Been playing a lot of that. It's really good. Fuck.
Is it because it's turn-based?
I mean, it's fun. It's got
It's
really
fun.
good animations. It has really good music. Like the mechanics for the turn-based stuff is really, really fun. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the trappings are just Genshin, which is fine for the most part, to be honest. But it's really cool, and the story's fun. So, you know, got fun characters, cool characters. I rolled the character that I wanted for my pity for like the. In your first 50 rolls, you get one of the base 5 stars. So I got the one that I wanted, and I am happy. But yeah, cool game. Hoyoverse is at it again. Can't wait to be playing 3 Hoyoverse games when fucking Zenless Zone Zero comes out.
Yeah,
And
whenever the fuck that comes out.
you know,
Dark,
listen, man,
Dark
they gave
is
away
slowly
more
entering,
badges, so.
Dark is slowly entering like our territory near with like the gacha
Yeah.
or like our previous territory. My previous
Yeah,
territory.
I
at least.
fucking escaped from that shit, man.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, I think
And
I'm
now-
dropping. I think I'm literally dropping everything, like except for these 2 games now. Like I'm like, fuck it. I was dabbling in Grand Blue again, and I'm just like, nah. You know what?
No.
Whatever. Just these 2. That's it. Hoyover. I'm a Hoyoverse fan now, baby. So, no more Tower Fantasy, and hell, you know, maybe down the line. But yeah, been doing that. Been playing Genshin.
Who
Been
would win
keeping
in a
up with
fight, Genshin
pretty much
or
everything.
Honkai Star Rail?
It depends on the characters.
In terms of what?
Gotcha.
Talking about like character power levels? I mean, they're
No,
the
I'm talking
same.
about
What do you
the
mean?
gacha.
Like
I'm
they're
talking about the gacha rates.
The gacha.
Their gacha rates are identical.
They're literally the exact same.
They're literally the same level of terrible. By the way, Spire, I don't know if you know this, but Genshin and Honkai Star Rail's gacha rates are 0.6%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're pretty good.
Yeah. Fucking awful. But yeah, so that's been fun.
I'm
keeping
keeping
up
up with
with-
my 2% and 3% rates over here.
Yeah, imagine the reality we would be in. But yeah, so that's been good. Yeah, kept up with everything. I already started U149 by the last podcast. Blasted through season 1 and the movie for Made in Abyss. Because I kind of like watched 3 episodes of that when it came out, got sidetracked,
Best
and then
stat
like
award.
and then just was like, I should really watch this. And then they were like, a year went by and it was like, oh, there's a movie. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they were like, but we're also doing a season 2. And I was like, maybe I'll just wait. And well, I decided to just watch it. So that's been really fun, really devastating. So, it's been really good. And I would highly recommend it.
But what's the best anime opening this season, Dark?
Best opening this season?
Yeah. You have one answer.
Wait, why
Yeah,
can't
if
I think
you're
of it?
wrong-
I had
if
an
you're wrong,
actual
you're
die.
I had an
in
actual
real
solid
life.
answer for
There is one answer. If you're wrong, you're wrong.
which one I liked a lot this season. Fuck. Oh my god, why don't I remember? Actually, no, fuck that. I mean, I like U149s a lot. I like the IMAS opening this season.
It's a pretty.
Prepare to fucking die, my friend.
Yeah.
He
Whatever,
Toast has
dude.
already pulled out his samurai sword.
You're gonna get canceled for the rest of us.
Yeah. Why? What's the best one? You should
forgot already?
Gashinda was really good too,
Yeah,
actually.
that is good, but it's not the good one.
Why? What's the good one?
How dare you? Nier, I'm so
Oh,
cold, I can't even
no,
say it.
I'm so
Toast is
stupid.
gonna-
No,
Toast
the
is gonna
best
pull
one
out
is
some-
is Magical Destroyers. That's the best one. That's like
Yes, that's true. That's
that is
true.
the best
That's
one.
true,
That is just
but-
the best
But
one.
Toast is about to pull some insane shit out of his ass right here.
No, I'm
Yeah,
not.
all right, let's hear it. What's the
I'm
best
not,
one?
though. It's the other one.
What other
Title?
one?
It's literally the other one.
What, Oshinoko?
Yes. You I would've
I mean,
I would've
Oshinoko's
accepted Magical
opening is
Destroyers, but-
fine, but
I
I
knew
feel
he was
like
gonna
it's
say
I feel
Oshinoko
like
from the start. By the way,
I feel like Oshinoko,'s OP is very similar. Well, no, I mean it's way better, but it's almost like the
Let
way
me-
I feel about
let me correct you,
Jigoku-raku,
Dark.
where it's like it's carried by the song a lot,
Yes.
or
Let me-
rather
let
not
me-
carried, but the song is doing a lot of legwork.
Let me correct you, Dark. Not the opening, the official music video.
That's cheating. That's just the
it-
song,
Yeah,
dude.
that doesn't. Yeah,
That's
that
just the
doesn't
song.
Way
count.
better. The official music video is way better than the OP.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so
It
and
is.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
what?
Yeah, the official music
yeah,
video also
the-
isn't in the anime. So
Yeah, it's not the
exactly.
opening.
But it is the opening, the full version.
No.
But the visuals are not the opening.
Oh, you don't want to talk? If you want to talk about visuals, then sure, I'll give it to Magical.
I mean, that's
Destroyers.
what the fuck else
That's
are we
part
talking
of it.
about?
That's
Like,
literally-
that's
that's
the
literally
OP.
half
if
of
we're
the
not
OP,
talking about that,
bro.
we're just talking about
Not the
music.
good one.
Oh, fucking none of these songs. Well, I mean, these songs like might have been like made in correspondence with the anime, but it's not like these songs were like they were like, oh, we need an opening for Oshinoko. This is the opening song for Oshinoko. Like, no, it's a fucking Yasobi song. Like,
I'm pretty sure it was made specifically for Oshinoko.
I mean, I know, but like most OP songs are, but like, let's be real, these artists could just be releasing these tracks by themselves.
I don't know, man. You could just say that to Eimer. What's the Osama ranking?
Also, like, I don't know if I agree with that for Jigoku Raku. I don't know. Was that
in terms of
made?
best
Was
song?
Jigoku Raku? No, I mean, its song was made for the anime. Like, work, I don't know if that was, like, specifically made. They might have been like,
I don't know.
are we...
I mean, maybe...
Like,
the
let's look
Japanese,
at artists, but
the
I don't
Japanese
know.
music industry is very closely linked to the anime industry. So like a lot of like collab projects like that are usually like they're usually like tied up
essentially
in.
the way it is all of the stuff that's in like the anime, like as an anime opening or whatever, are pretty much like all actual things that are contracted by the production committee, by the anime studio as an anime opening. That doesn't mean that later on the artist can't sell it or redo it or perform it as their own like
Yeah, of course.
opening.
But what we're talking about is like, is the song written and created with the intent of it being an anime OP? A lot of them are, right?
No, pretty much all of the ones
I think
that are
it is.
contracted
I think
are.
it is. It's just a matter of like, I don't think that you can be like, I don't think that you could be out here being like, again,
you
like
can't
shit,
really
like,
say
oh,
that like you
Jigoku
can't really say the
Raku,
song
like,
is about the anime, but it's like the songs are typically written and paced in a way to where it's like, yeah, this is for this kind of project, you know.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're all written for an anime.
But in general, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think. All right, look, we're getting on a huge fucking tangent. Either way, you can't say that like, oh, the song is really good, so like the OP is good. Like that's just not no. Like honestly, I think Jigoku Raku's OP is kind of whack. Like because of the visuals.
Deep down,
they're pretty,
good.
but like they really aren't doing anything.
I don't believe Deep Down has anything to do with Chainsaw Man, but it's a good song. Atemonaku, Eimer's new song for summer ranking.
Yeah, but like you're saying, like you don't think Deep Down has anything to do with Chainsaw Man, but that ED was fucking good though. Like the visuals were good. I'm talking about the fact that like
specifically for that, the song is good by itself.
You can't be out here like, yeah, this OP like compared to other like full package OPs this season is like kind of mid, but like the song is godlike. So
I mean, that's like. I'm not really sure. I'm just not really sure what Toast is. Yeah, I'm not really sure what Toast is trying to say.
I'm saying, Yoasobi's song "Idol" made specifically for Oshinoko.
Sure, but like, does that add anything?
Yes.
In your eyes, like, cause
everything.
Cause Serial Experiments Lane opening is like that song is not made in relation to that anime at all, but it's still one of the most like fucking iconic OPs of all time.
Names are in the opening there.
Okay.
You can
everyone's in there.
But does it really elevate the OP in your eyes? Like,
no.
I disagree personally.
Well,
you'll have to disagree with. Let me check. 53 million people.
Two things I would like to add. Just before we start closing up the tangent. But one, I think you pretty much as we know again from like actual like the recording artists, talking about the industry and stuff like that. Pretty much all of the music that is our openings for an anime are made for an anime, are contracted by the anime to be made as an opening for that anime. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the opening has to have necessarily like references or whatever to the series. They just kind of make the opening. And a lot of general artists, especially somebody like Shinaringo, right, kind of make these general songs because maybe they might not be super like, wow, I gotta make something that's like 100. It's not like Mythroid or like again somebody like Oishimasa Yoshi or whoever, right? Where it's like they really kind of like they are otaku, right? And then they really get into kind of making this stuff. I mean, even somebody like Millie, right? Millie doesn't really make stuff that's very closely linked to the anime series necessarily, right? But they are specifically opening they're contracted for the anime at hand. So I think that's one thing. But the other part and the main sort of, I guess, chasm, the split between Dark and Toast, that can be kind of just resolved.
What are you talking about? We're not hating each other here.
No, what I'm saying, the difference is
Dark, you're my friend. Don't listen to what
Yeah,
Spider
no,
says.
there is a great rift. There is a huge rift between us now.
the I think it can be simply resolved by well, I guess it's already resolved in a sense, but it's like Toast is talking about the opening song as pertains to just like the song at hand, and obviously, Dark is talking about the opening as it pertains to the general opening of the anime, right? The 30x, plus seconds of or 1 minute, right? 1 minute x
Watch the
seconds, 80
original
seconds.
Oshinoko opening. Just watch the official music video. It has more views.
Well, I mean, that aside, Dark's definition of what he constitutes as an opening, and when he's rating, like something like best opening, right at the end of the or show, is different from what Toast might be talking
In
about.
fact,
So,
why don't openings just use the full song? Why
because
not?
that is
90
literally
seconds?
not how the
Screw
time
that.
is allotted.
Screw
That
that.
is
They
literally
should.
not how the
If
time is
Oshinoko
allotted.
can get 90 minutes opening, 90
Yeah,
minutes
anime episodes
first
are
episode,
24
let
minutes
them play the
long,
full thing.
and if up to 5 minutes of that runtime is music, people simply are not going to tune into the channel.
Just
I'm
remove
gonna
the
be real.
ads.
Yeah.
Just remove
I don't think that's how TV stations work.
That's
Well, they
not
should
how.
have.
Yeah, that's not
Play
how
the
cable
full
television
song.
works. I'm afraid.
Also,
yeah.
Spire, your argument's wrong. Consider Negi-U. Are you saying that group specifically didn't make a song for Jahi-sama? They would have teamed up otherwise? I don't believe it.
That is not what I was talking about at all. I said specifically.
You're saying most anime songs are made just to be an anime song. They'll be like, hey, this song's cool. Let me use it for this anime. And they're like, okay. But no, I'm pretty sure.
No, I didn't say
No.
most anime
was made specifically for Jahi-sama.
No, most anime projects are literally made and they contract and hire
people.
artists, like musical artists, to specifically make a OP song.
So
That is what Spire is saying.
I'm talking about the contract part. I'm not talking about
Yes.
how far they're gonna be in
It
using
is,
the reference
yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
basically up to
vary.
the artist's discretion, or maybe it's
create
up to
their
the
opening.
contract as to whether that song needs to be specifically about the anime or not.
That's why.
There are plenty of anime OPs.
and just say whatever they want in their
Yeah,
lyrics.
there are plenty of anime OPs that have literally nothing to do, like the lyrics and the fucking subject matter of the song has nothing to do tonally, lyrically, or anything with the anime.
Yeah, and
it's just a song.
And those
yet those
other ones.
Not at all, bro. What are you talking about?
What's the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood opening?
Which one?
Brotherhood, the first one.
The first one, the most iconic one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
That's not as good as Oshinoko's opening. It means.
What are you talking about, bro? That's literally one of the most iconic OPs of all time, dude.
Anymore, bro. Also, Ready, Steady, Go. Nothing to do with Full Metal Alchemist. It's
You're
losing
so
its
dumb.
Hey,
the only ones that get a pass are like what? I guess Eimer. I guess I'll
because Eimer.
Yeah, because Eimer's cool. I'll take that.
I think,
Also, what's her name? Mizuki Nana. Sure. I'll take Eternal Blaze any day.
Either way.
And Lisa. I'll give Lisa a pass too. Why not?
Anyways, yeah, I mean, it's like there's definitely I think a lot of variance in these opening songs, but either way, that is unfortunately neither here nor there. I apologize, Dark, for leaning on this tangent, but
I won't.
Did you
I'll
have
defend this to the death.
Did you have anything else that you want to talk about in terms of your tweets?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Just the biggest thing was burning through Made in Abyss, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you still think it's good?
Yeah, I think it's really good.
The movie,
he probably thinks it's better after the movie, right? He wouldn't be like, "Oh, it's shit."
Yeah, the movie was fucking great.
Right?
No, the first there's two. The first two are.
Yeah, the first two movies are recaps, and then the third one is the Bondrewd arc.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack for that series. It's
Is the
fucking
movie
awesome.
so good that you're gonna play the game? I heard the game is horrendous.
I mean, I do kind of want to play the game. It is a piece of shit, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait and
I've
see if
told
it goes
him
on
multiple
sale.
times not
If
to
it
play the
goes on
game.
sale, but I'm not paying $60 for that game.
wait till it's on
Wait,
sale.
what is? Is it like an action game? What is it?
It's like a survival third person. Like, it's hard to explain. It's really scuffed.
It's bad.
It is kind of an action game, but like
It's bad.
I would say more of a survival
How can it be
game.
bad if it has mostly positive on
It's
Steam?
so
Mhm.
fucking bad, dude. It's such a bad game.
It's like that pineapple on pizza game where it's like it has all the positive reviews, but it's like a shit game. Whatever. It's
Yeah.
like a really stupid game. But anyways, thank you, Dark, for your 2 weeks. I'll go over my stuff very quickly. I didn't really do too much. I got back into playing DJ Max for some reason or other. But all I play on there is collab songs. So it's
Songs?
like, oh,
What?
okay.
Yeah.
What collab
It's
songs?
a lot of like the next song game, like Maple Story and Cartwriter remixes, and like see like
Did you hear what happened to Maple Story?
There's a lot of things that happened to Maple Story in recent months.
Didn't they completely delete a character from Maple Story?
They might have. I haven't caught up with the news, but I'm sure like Maple Story has gone through a lot of scandals in recent months, which is a little bit unfortunate.
I've never played Maple Story, so I don't know what any of you are talking about.
But other than that, I haven't been through too much. Watched a couple of series here again just to catch up. Yuri is my job. I got really into it, honestly. I kind of wanted to read the manga now.
Hold on, Spire. Have you seen the Mario movie yet?
I have not. Dude, I don't like watching those sorts of movies. I
What
really
sorts of
don't like.
movies?
Hates
Italian?
Ones with Italian.
Wow.
Yeah, ones with
Yeah,
Italian.
I hate Italian movies.
Of course.
I hate Italian plumbers. But
what are you, Chris Pratt?
I really don't like watching game or movie adaptations of games, video games.
So
I
you're
really
saying you don't even
them.
like the original Mario movie?
Oh, I don't.
What the fuck, dude?
What is wrong? He hates
All right, that's
John
actually
Leguizamo.
fucked up.
I apologize, but
That's
yeah,
Italian culture right there, dude.
How
it's
dare
me, Mario.
He doesn't even say that in the movie. Oh my god, this guy. How dare
That's
you?
not why. That's not.
That's not even in the original Mario Bros. Movie.
I don't think that I wasn't referencing the movie when I was saying that. But anyways,
Yeah.
I caught up with a couple of series again. Yuri's my job, and then Skip and Loafer. I know that there was announcements of a new Ubisoft VN. Obviously, that's going to be full, Resident Sleeper, just like full Advil sleeping pill as well. So I'm not going to probably take that, but I think there is a new localization or somebody's taking on a translation. Shirafune. Shirafune is taking on a translation of Nukitashi, which is quite famous sort of comedic like Nukige style VN, which I do like a decent amount. I've read through some of the raw VN, but I hope they do the translation justice, although usually they don't, but we'll see. But yeah, that was pretty much my 2 weeks real quick, and we should probably start off then. First on the list here, we have Toast. What do you have for us today?
I don't even know anymore. What were we talking about earlier?
Your series. What series do you want to talk
I mean,
about?
I want to talk about Oshinoko, but we're gonna say that for later, right? Okay.
Yeah, Oshinoko is gonna be pretty much down the line, way down the line.
So let me tell you a story. All right.
Okay.
No wait, I already told it. Never mind.
What?
What?
Are you okay?
No.
Alright.
All right.
What series am I talking about?
I don't know.
You're talking about cheat skill.
Oh yeah. Okay, I was sorry. I was gonna talk about the other one, but my bad. All right. So cheat skill in another world. What's it called? I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too. Yeah, that's the series I did.
Awesome.
It's basically what the heck is that series called? What's that series? That was a same.
The issue is
What?
I
Cheat
understand
Magician?
Toast.
No. Oh, hold on. Yeah, that's. I was thinking. I'm like, oh, hold on. I'm thinking of the different series. I'm thinking of like 3 different series at once. So this series is a combination of.
The thing is, I don't blame Toast. I don't blame Toast because
Yeah.
so yes, or today, right? This morning when I was trying to maybe watch a couple of episodes of Cheat Skill in Another World, I was typing Cheat Skill in Another World, and then I was like, wait a minute, is this like specific enough? Because I know that there are at least 3 other like web novels or visual novels that I've seen, much less exists in the entire like universe, right? That have cheat skill in another world in their title. So I'm
Awesome.
just sitting here like, fuck. Like I could go through like 3 pages of Google searches and not find the right one. So
The
it's
biggest, like the most common word in this genre is they use the word cheat.
yeah, cheat skill and skill. You have to have the
Yeah,
skill.
so
It's like
but
Yeah,
like
it has to be a skill because otherwise it's just cheating.
yeah.
because my favorite word of the use or my favorite use of the word cheat is still the way they use it in Sao.
What is it?
Don't you remember?
No.
It's the famous one, the beater, because you're a cheetah, you're a cheater and a beta player.
Yes.
That makes him a beater,
The lonely
Yes,
beater.
yes.
a lonely beater. Yeah, I think he was the only beater, wasn't he? The rest died.
Did they say that? Did they say all the beta testers died? I don't know.
I don't
He was the lonely beater though.
because
So
there was the beta tester dude. There was one other who was like the main leader of the group that tried to tackle the first floor boss, but he died. So I guess.
Anyways,
Oh yeah, we're talking about.
that's
It's a
not
combination
what is
between
this series?
this series, Cheat Skill Another World is a combination of Excel World, Shinkanomi, and
You're like literally not. Wait, is this done by? This is done by Itagaki Shin. What the fuck?
I don't know who
damn.
that is.
Itagaki Shin is one of the. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff, but it's like he's done like Princess Mononoke.
I
I
love
forget he's not.
Copcraft.
I forget he's not. I keep. I keep thinking
Are you
that
okay?
he's one of the Wait, no, he is one of the Shaft trio, right? It's him. It's
he's-
Onuma Shin and it's Akiyuki Shimbo, right?
Yeah,
That
he's
was
worked on a
originally.
lot of Shaft stuff, if I remember
Yeah, yeah.
correctly.
So essentially
He's
there
also
are
been on I think TQ for a long time, which is pretty funny.
yeah. So essentially
When's the
for
next
those of you
TQ season?
I have no
um,
idea.
We should make it again. But yeah, continue.
essentially for those of you who don't know, there are like kind of 3 people in Shaft, or 3 people that were in Shaft that kind of worked during the real rise to power of Akiyuki Shimbo, and it was Akiyuki Shimbo, Itagaki Shin, I think Itagaki Shin, and I know Onuma. No, wait, no, it's just Onuma and Akiyuki Shimbo. I think Itagaki might have been different, although he did work on Shaft stuff.
I
But yeah,
think so,
anyways,
yeah.
yeah, but he's
I'm
an
pretty
old head.
sure, yeah, Itagaki Shin's a old Gainax head.
Yeah. Oh
Back in the
yeah,
days.
it's Gainax. Yes, I
Yeah.
remember. Okay.
But I
Yeah.
will say I
My
do like
memory is really
Itagaki
bad. I
Shin
apologize.
better than I do Akiyuki Shimbo. And what's the other one that I don't like? Who else did who else did Bakemonogatari that I don't like? Nisio Isin. I don't like that guy either, or that person.
Isekai is literally the guy who wrote
Is he?
Monogatari. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like that person. They're weird.
Okay.
Unfortunate.
I don't
But,
like their movies. I should say I do like Bakemonogatari, but like their movies. Is it their movies? Which is the one
What?
that just came out?
Kizu?
Suzume.
Oh,
Wari Monogatari?
what?
Who
Which
made
one?
Suzume? That's a Makoto Shinkai.
Makoto Shinkai?
Never mind.
You're
I don't
confusing
like that guy.
3 different universes.
They all blend together. They all blend together in my head. Makoto Shinkai.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy.
I mean, I can't fault Toast too much because my memory is really shitty too. So
Like he makes all the same movies, but like slightly different variations. Weathering with You, Suzume.
You're correct.
I do like Your Name. I will say Your Name is pretty good.
So wait,
yeah.
this I was skimming over this. I got a cheat skill in Another World. This is by Milipensi. By the way, if you guys don't know why I'm like why I like have a trepidation, because I covered. No, you wait. Who covered Berserk in here? Like the new
I
Berserk?
did, dude.
You did New Berserk, which was Milipensi and that other fucking like London studio or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
it was, right? Yeah, Gemba and Milipensi. I think Milipensi was the London studio. And then I also covered that one fucking anime about the blimps or the steampunk blimps or whatever that still had really shitty 3D. And that was also Milipensi series.
Is that the one where the dragon eats the girl?
No, I don't think so. It was slightly different.
Milipensi is the TQ studio, by the way.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh fuck,
TQ
you're
is
right.
great.
Studio
you.
in quotes, I think.
I mean, they did Copcraft.
Didn't you not like Copcraft?
I didn't cover it. I think Dark did.
Dark, didn't you hate? I know you guys didn't like Copcraft. You got bored of it.
Which was Copcraft? Copcraft was the... Oh, no. So Copcraft was very hit or miss with some of his visuals was the problem. Like some of its visuals were like really, really bad.
Like source material aside,
and then other visuals were like pretty
is
good.
lacking. Yeah.
Well,
But,
going off of that, the visuals in this series is pretty good. I will say that.
Pretty consistent. Okay.
Pretty good compared
Maybe they
to
got
most
money.
guys.
Yeah.
Money, yeah, right. Well, maybe. I mean, like I said, I actually really like the way this anime looks.
Mhm.
But yeah, where are we going with this? I don't know. Where was I? Oh yeah, it's a combination of Excel World and Shinken no Mika's about a fat guy. Like you got this obese, overweight
A fat guy gets isekai'd and he becomes a cool guy. Is that what it is?
Sure, yeah. But like the reasoning is he the reasoning is similar to Shinken no Mi is what he's a fat guy and he accidentally kills something, then he levels up to like level 100, and then now he's a hot dude because he optimized his stats or whatever. The perfect human being, I guess, because he was level 1 before. Level 1 fat guy, now level 100 hot guy.
Mafia boss, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. And so let me start at the beginning. So he's a guy, he's a fat guy, he's always been bullied because he's fat, whatever. But he's like his family hates him, they disown him and whatnot because he's
Why?
fat and
Because
ugly.
he's fat?
Yeah, pretty much.
Holy
That's
shit.
kind of
Standard
fucked up,
reason.
dude.
You know, that's how it works.
He's the
Get out of the family.
duckling
You're
of his
fat.
family. The rest of his family is like good looking. He's like, oh, I don't like this fatty.
What the fuck, dude?
Pretty much, yeah. And like the only one who was nice to him was his grandfather. He's always been like, be nice to other people, Yuya. Oh, that's the main character's name. What's his name?
Wow.
Yuya Tenjo. So, like, and he's all like, be nice to people, and one day you'll get rewarded. You'll find your own happiness. He's like, okay. And so when he's walking across the street, he saves this girl from, the usual group of thugs. Her name is Kaori Hojo and whatnot. So when he saves the girl, and he saves the girl, he's like, "Oh, thank you for saving me." He's like, "Don't worry about it." And he goes home and gets beat up or something, and something like that. He goes home and he's like, "Oh, why am I such like? Where's my happiness?" Like, and whatnot. Then he punches a mirror, and it opens up a secret door in his grandfather's estate because, like, seriously, not his family beats him up, but they also disown him and whatnot. So he lives by himself in his grandfather's old house because when the grandfather died, he was like, "Oh, I only like you, Yuya." So he
Nice.
gained the grandfather's inheritance and whatnot, and the family, since they disowned him, they don't get any of it, something like that. They made it so like only Yuya gets the full inheritance from his grandfather and not his parents.
Yeah, I
And his
watched Knives
siblings.
Out.
Yeah. So he finds a hidden compartment in the grandfather's house. He finds a bunch of isekai stuff and a magic door, and the magic door leads him to his grandfather's isekai house where it has all this cool legendary equipment and stuff. So that's when he steps out. He finds some weapons, and then that's when he accidentally kills a red ogre and levels up, and now he's a hot guy. And now this series is basically him traveling between worlds,
And being awesome.
like through this magical door in his house, where he's trying to live the life of an ordinary student who's now from going from a fat guy,
Awesome.
and
Wait,
now he's a hot guy.
so he can travel between worlds?
Yeah,
Why?
that's why there's a
Because that's awesome, dear. That's why.
his
Why are you even
grandfather.
asking?
Yeah, near his grandfather was. It's hinted that like, oh, this is the house of the great sage of the upper world. So his grandfather was probably a great sage.
So is he still a fat loser in the real world, or?
No,
No, he's just cool forever, bro. He can
Oh.
also
he
travel between
actually
worlds.
actually leveled up and
This
like
this guy is like, wow. Like he thinks that this.
Wait, so
are you suggesting that?
so
would be
why
cool,
so
dear.
why even go back to the Isekai world, right? Like, why not just live
Because
it
the
up
Isekai world is
in the real
fucking
world?
cool, dude.
Yeah,
actually
because
Dark,
that's cool. That's how cool things work. You can be with the dragons at the academies, but you can also have the world travel power. That's
I'm gonna
how
stop
cool
you
it
there,
works.
Dark, because I'll let me just say the isekai part of this series is actually the boring part.
Damn.
Really, it's like,
Nice.
oh, he lives in like this dark, like super high level monster woods, and then he meets a princess there, and I'm like, that's cool and all, but this part's kind of boring. The actual interesting part is where he's trying to adjust his cheat skills to the real world, because so far there's 4 episodes in, nothing really interesting happens. Isekai part where like, oh, he saves a princess, and the princess is like, oh, you're my savior, let me meet your king. He's like, no, no thanks, and whatnot. But all the real character development is when he's in the real where he's in Japan, like, oh, he has to adjust to being popular, and or sorry, what happens is now that he's good looking or whatever, like he's being treated differently by his classmates, because he used to be the class's gopher and gets beat up, but now he's like, oh damn, over the summer he got hot. Oh no, we can't bully him anymore because he's taller than me, and he's got these martial arts abilities that he learned in the other world, so can't mess with him anymore. And the girl that he saved, Kaori, apparently is the chairman of the chairman's daughter of the prestigious Osei Academy. The most prestigious school in the city, and he got invited there because he saved the chairman's daughter, and so now he's in a new school where no one knows that he was this ugly fat loser, and now he has to adjust to that, just to having a normal school life and stuff.
But yeah,
Uh-huh.
is this like the standard mini arcs, and then he does like cool stuff and defeats the mini bosses on each mini arc, or what's happening?
I
Is this
guess so far,
there's not much slow life, right? It's mostly like mini arcs, like, oh, there's like this weird enemy in like real life or in this Isekai world, and he has to use his powers to defeat them,
Well,
and
like I
he
said, like
also
the
gains
isekai
heroic
stuff
side.
is it's pretty mid. There's nothing really happening. All the interesting stuff is happening in the school. Like you know how his uh, you know how his brother and sister were also beating him up because he's fat and ugly, even though he's their older brother.
Okay.
So when Kaori came over, was like, "Hey, we're gonna invite you to Osei Academy because you're a good person and you saved me from, I guess, rapists that one time." The brother and sister were like,
Okay.
oh hey, we're this is I believe we're in middle school. Why don't we go to Osei Academy too? If our brother is going because we're hot and handsome, and she's like, no, you're not good people. We looked up, we did a background check on you. We know that you've been beating him up, and you're working with this like biker gang in order to beat him up. So Osai Academy doesn't need scum like you
Hmm.
and whatnot. And then it comes back in episode 4 where the brother and sister they hire a biker gang to come and disrupt the school, whatever. And then you remember that one scene where there was that biker gang in Planad, and Tomoyo beats him up with a kick. It's
Mhm.
kind of like that. So they come to disturb his new school, so he beats them up. And then the brother and sister like, damn, you biker gang is worthless. Then the lead of the biker gangs are like, damn, this is all your fault. I'm gonna kill you. And he like chokes out their brother. And then Yuya's like, Snow, stop that. He's my family. And he saves them. And then they're like, oh, we're sorry that we beat you up. All that good stuff. Revenge arc completed, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty standard. But what can I say? I kind of like the series because I
You
kind of
like
like
this
the
series?
I like the protagonist better than most
You like the protagonist?
better than
Wait,
other
why?
isekai protagonists because it's usually whenever they try to write the standard isekai protagonist like, oh, I'm a random normal Japanese student who fell into this and be like, oh, I'm gonna go with the flow or whatever.
Right.
They don't have like a set character like trait. It's literally like on the author's whim. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like, there's no real character
Yes.
development in
Sure.
most standard
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a
Japanese
self-insert.
man.
He's supposed to be the meek, mild-mannered like guy who also loves friendship and miso soup or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
like, oh, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this, but I'm also gonna contradict and like, oh well, they go with the flow and whatnot. But with Yuya,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a lot more of a superhero syndrome kind of way, but it's still better written.
What do you mean?
Like in his entire life, he's bullied, but his grandfather instills into him like, be good to other people. You'll find your own happiness. So right out of the gate, the main character is a good guy. So he's like, I don't know, a typical
Well, they're
shonen
all generally good
protagonist.
guys, though, right?
Not
But I,
all,
I
not
think
not
I
all of
kind
them.
of understand.
Like I said,
Well, most of them ultimately take like the author wants it to be as much of like a fantasy as possible. So most of
yeah,
them kind of take it all upon themselves to be like, yeah, of course I'll save the kitten from the tree, kind of vibes, right? With the main characters. But I do kind of understand where you go getting at. But what I'm curious about is what is the sort of um like enemy in each like mini arc? Because you said the isekai part is the boring part, right? But then does that mean he finds enemies in the real world?
the
What's
only
happening
enemy
there?
so far was his brother and sister who made fun of him and whatnot,
Okay.
and he brought the biker gang. But they reconciled after that because it showed him like, oh, we
So
really
what's the
are
conflict that
pieces of shit.
he goes through, or like, what like you have these like mini arcs, right? I'm guessing that there are mini
After
arcs
that,
because it's a very
I don't know. Really,
he's just like macking on girls. What's happening
uh,
there?
no, I mean, this is the part where he's pretty sad. Like, oh, he's got pretty low like self-esteem. So because
Uh huh.
he's still the fat kid on the inside, I guess, mentally. So
Hmm.
he has to adjust to be like, oh, hey, maybe there are nice people in the world, and whatnot. So yeah, that's about
Well,
it.
the reason why I'm like kind of trying to dig into this is because it seems like the setting is a little bit of a um mess to me,
It is a
to
mess.
put it lightly. Yeah, because in a more standard setting, right? What you would have is maybe like if I had to pull it off the top of my head, you would have like some sort of secret like pawn shop like evil villain dude in the real world who's like trying to scam the protagonist on the real world side. On the isekai side, maybe you would have like some duke or some king that's like selfish and like greedy or whatever that the or some demon like mid boss that the protagonist has to defeat, and he'll be kind of like uh doing double time, right? Trying to defeat both of them, and those would kind of ravel off into different mini arcs, and he'll mac on the girls along the way, the harem stuff, whatever, the power frenzy, blah blah. Now you said that um, most of it's kind of him dealing with this growing character development, and that the isekai side is kind of not much, right, of anything. So I'm a little bit curious because the idea of him having the power and going through these things is to fight against these conflicts, right? Because it's like if there was no conflict, he would not need to be told like, "Oh, you have to be good to everybody," right? Because then that would be no trouble, right? He would just be good to everybody because everybody would be good people. But excuse me, the idea of him being told you have to be good, you have to save others, you have to be the good, is that there exists a bad that contrasts within the story, right? So it's a little bit interesting to me that in the story that there has not really been a clear, defined like baddie, as cheesy as it might be. But obviously the setting is cheesy enough. But uh, it's puzzling to me that there hasn't been a clear bad person, even if it's like a small like Duke or like whatever, in the Isekai series yet. You know what I mean?
Well, we're 4 episodes in, and
That is true.
nothing really has happened yet. Like he hasn't even
So
left.
most of it's kind of like a harem development kind of thing going on right now.
I
In the
guess,
first like,
because the
okay,
princess likes him, and then the Kaori likes him, and whatnot. So he hasn't
yeah,
really left
I,
the forest and the isekais. He's just camping out there. He meets the princess while training, and then so far he's just got his school life in
yeah.
Osei Academy. So nothing of that has happened yet.
I just, by the way, I'm gonna post this in the Discord DMs, and, I don't want to be too judgmental, but this is the cast.
Yeah,
It's
I was looking
literally,
at it earlier.
it's like
Yeah,
Matsuko, you're
I was gonna,
surrounded by like 50 different girls.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say like, yeah, we might as well bring up the cast now. Like, if you guys don't know who Matsuoka is, you know Kirito's voice actor.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's him.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's him. And
One
then,
of the one of the most prolific main protagonists in recent years. Main protagonists and voice actors.
and since brought up, Nakahara Mai does indeed voice best girl in this series. So,
Yeah, a lot of these girls in the voice acting cast and the harem are pretty much all like at least like B+A casters, like just A-listers, people that would standard be at least doing one or two anime a season.
Princess
Pretty much
voiced
down
by
for them.
Kaori Maeda. I don't know who that is.
Maya Kare
Kaori
has been
voiced
on the
by
explosive lineup.
Akari Kito. I don't know who that is. Shigami Suzuka.
Shitakane, who is she? Slayer of the Demons? What's that? But yeah,
Ayana
fair.
Taketatsu. Never heard her. She's a good character too. Hidaka Takuma Ai. Toyoma now. I've never heard of her. But yeah, it. I mean, you're right. It's basically Yoshioga Matsuoka and his harem.
Yeah.
You know, he's a good guy. You know, all it takes is an actual good person in this series to be likable, because everyone else is a
Mhm.
dick. But don't worry, all of his school friends are nice people too. Damn, everyone's
Again, it
nice
is a
in
little
this
bit
series.
unfortunate that, well, I don't even know whether it's unfortunate, but I think if that story, that isekai slash not isekai, quote unquote, can really turn that sort of character development shtick, I want to say. I don't think it's a full developed, like, proper story structure yet, but if they can develop that shtick into something that is more unique, yet still interesting, like engaging with regards to how he talks with the harem, how he develops himself, right? After he's turned into a cool guy or whatever, right? I think it'll be a definitely interesting series. I don't want to be too judgmental in saying like, oh, because it doesn't have a standard bad villain in this isekai, it's shit. Um, it was just a little bit puzzling. But yeah.
It really says a lot. One like, hey, you know, you've been bullied all your life. You're kind of like Peter. You're like Spider-Man, I guess. You know, Peter Parker. Been bullied all your life, but when you get superpowers, you're still a nice guy. And
Mhm.
it's like, if that's all it takes for me to for me to like the protagonist, then the state of isekai protagonist is pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Anything else?
visuals, it looks good. I mean, gee, I wonder why. Pretty good. Yeah,
Okay.
it looks nice. Audio visuals, sure. I will say though that compared to there's a noticeable difference in colors or colors are saturate or lighting, I guess, because the isekai is usually dark, like darker in hue, I guess. Maybe it's because he lives in the dark forest. I don't know, maybe. But then you compare it. I mean, you can see it in the preview picture here. It's usually like darker, but then when he's in normal Japan, there's a lot of brighter colors and whatnot. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's a stylistic choice. I don't know. What else? Series is all right,
Okay.
but then again, it's because the main character is marginally likable than other Sekai protagonists. Characters are all right. They're all good people, I guess. Not really a bad egg in the among them in the main cast. Then you have your pick your favorite voice actor. That's your favorite girl in the series. Yeah, it's all
Okay.
right.
What score
Is
would
it
you
the
give it?
is it the best isekai this season? No, it's second best.
What's
I
the
will
best
say
one?
Yushigashinda.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that one's more slapstick comedy, but this one, I don't know, it's fine. He does wear black armor, but whatever. How do you get you know what I noticed? The first enemy he defeats is a red ogre. Why does he get black armor? What's up with
The
that?
bones.
And not even black bones. He defeats the ogre and then like, oh, here's a full set of red ogre equipment. Just kidding, it's black. And I'm like, oh, all right,
Uh,
yeah.
anyways, what score
Second
would you give
best
it?
isekai, way better than Summon for a Second Time. Don't watch that. I'll give it the average score of 8 out of 10. It's fine.
Okay.
The average.
If you don't want to watch the one, go and watch Yushigashinda. That one's really good.
Okay. Anyways, thank you, Toast, for your review of I Got a Cheat Skill in Another World. I'm gonna say this clearly so that it doesn't confuse itself with the 5 other cheat skill isekai series. I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too, also known in Japanese as Isekai de cheat skill を手にした俺が現実世界をもそうする。レベルアップは人生を変えた。いや、異世界でチート能力を手にした俺は、いや、現実界をも無双するレベルアップは人生を変えた。Okay, yeah, I got that
Hold
right.
on, Spire. Do you think this is the? Would you call this the opening act for the other type of isekai that's going to appear soon?
What do you mean, other type of isekai?
The other type of isekai where, oh, I've already been in the isekai, but now I'm coming back to the real world and I have all my powers.
I don't think that's really necessarily it's not big enough to be its own type, in my opinion.
We've
It's
already,
like it's still pretty niche.
if you
I don't
if you
think
count,
it's improved. I don't think that it's increased in the recent years. It's been
I think
pretty like here and
it might
there.
might cause a resurgence soon enough. Also, if you want to
You think
count
so?
like
Maybe.
if you want to count the trope of you already in an isekai and come back to the same world, well, we already have what summoned to another world twice. If you want to count that in this same genre,
I just don't think it's the authors will never make it into a big enough thing just because I have a very cynical view of these like Japanese fan fiction isekai authors, and the last thing that they want to do is make their own writing harder on themselves. And all they want to do is they just want to write their feudal fantasy, high fantasy, like super power protagonist bashes people on the head and then goes back to farming for his miso soup or whatever it is, right?
Hold on, Spire.
he-
What feudal isekai? There's 2 different types.
Feudal high fantasy, essentially.
No, I mean like
Um,
there's 2 different. There's a Jigoku Raku, and then there's the Middle Eastern fantasy. Which one are you talking about?
Middle Eastern. Sorry,
Okay.
I apologize. Yes. So that's all they want to write, and they don't want to go back. They don't want to go. A, they don't want to write about Japan because they think it's boring, and B, they don't want to write. They don't want to have to juggle the fact that they have to control like both worlds in the setting of the story. They would rather be lazy and just write their power fantasy in their fan fiction. So I don't think it'll become a big genre anytime soon. And so far it's like it's pretty much how it is. So, but anyways, again, thank you so much, Toast, for helping cover this. This is a light novel slash web novel original that was adapted into an anime by Milipensi, also known as That TQ Studio, headed by Itakaki Shin.
I will say though, like I believe the anime is taking the manga art as its source because the manga
Okay,
this
that's
looks
reasonable.
closer to the manga than it does to the light novel. And
Okay,
the
yeah,
manga's the one I read.
usually it does because it's like the cover art for like a lot of these things are usually a little bit more like, yeah, they're pretty different in style
It
than.
might depend on like how popular the artist is, maybe.
Yeah, that is also true.
I don't know. But yeah.
Good point. But yeah, it is Milipensi. It's directed by Itakaki Shin, also known as one of the kind of OG Gainax guys.
One of the worst writers ever, alongside Akiyuki Shimbo and Nishio Isin and Makoto Shinkai. Those hacks.
We're gonna get a lot of hate mail for that. But anyways, thank you, Toast. And next on the list here is Dark. What do you have for us?
Oh boy. Yeah. Sorry, folks. I've got a little bit of a woke series, okay?
Oh no, is it the Twitter series?
I don't know. Is this a Twitter series? I haven't been paying attention to anime Twitter. I have Skip and Loafer. It's to get right into it. Just kidding, it's really fucking good.
Is loafer slang for something?
So
Is that why?
yeah, so spoiler alert, no characters in this are named Skip or Loafer.
Damn,
and this
really?
is not a buddy cop series, so
this is a sequel to Carol on Tuesday? What the fuck, man?
yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
man.
no.
I was really hoping for that.
So yeah, this is a slice of life series. It's called a drama. It's labeled as a drama on like Mall, but it's like really not, like, because like here's the like I feel like calling a series a drama series at this point kind of gives you the wrong impression for a series like this. Like, this technically is a drama series, right? It is slice of life centered around drama for each episode, but the drama is very real. It's very minor. It's very slice of life
It's not
type
like,
things,
oh,
and
my mother
characters
was
do
hit by
not.
an airplane into whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's not like, like that girl, she like took my eraser,
in,
so
like,
now
yeah.
I'm going to fucking mope about it for the next 18 minutes. It's
Damn, all in the first episode? Wow.
yeah. It's very much it is very much sort of like minor school dramas or like life sort of dramas, and anxieties being dealt with in a more nuanced fashion, in a very lighthearted way. So I guess the synopsis is, in order to pursue her dream of bringing positive change to Japan, Mitsumi Iwakura leaves her countryside town to attend a prestigious high school in the hustle and bustle of Tokyo. As she has already mapped out a clear life plan, she has absolute confidence that there will be zero mishaps then onwards. And despite her ambitious promise, the country girl ends up running late on the first day, and when she gets lost on the way to school. And during that, she meets our male maid, the blonde-haired guy, Sosuke Shima. And he is just a very laid back individual, in direct contrast to her sort of, trying to have a clear life plan and a very hard goal. Now the premise itself too doesn't really capture, I guess, Mitsumi's character either. Her character, even though she has her life quote unquote planned out and she has very high aspirations and wants to be in like the Japanese government, essentially to solve the problems we talk about very frequently on this podcast. Like, well, they don't say population in the show or how they're going to solve it yet. But she does bring up like her hometown sort of suffering being in the countryside because of, people moving away, not enough influx of people, things like that. But that's not really like a super center thing. Her character is kind of like the high aspirations and has a goal, but ultimately is not super disciplined in the sense of she's pretty balanced. And she kind of wants to be a super disciplined person, but never winds up being one. And just kind of does things her own way so far. And that's kind of like where the series kind of just goes from there. These two characters bouncing off of each other and just like slight dramas in between it. There was one episode where, or rather in the first episode, the drama is that she's late on her first day and like
Right.
is nervous and throws up on their teacher. Like, but through that makes a name for herself and people are like, oh, you're like, oh, you're that girl who is like, who threw up on the teacher on the first day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like her self introduction was like, another thing that stuck with people. But it's one of those things where she had super anxiety, was extremely anxious about her self introduction, lost sleep over it, and then wound up like making a really awkward but funny statement. And then that's another thing that people remember her for now. And she kind of brings people together in, what would you call it? She winds up like bringing people together and solving issues without realizing like her attitude is what is doing that.
So she's the skip and he's the loafer? Is this what I was coming at?
Yeah, you know what? If you want to put it that way, sure.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what the title means. Like,
I think the title is just a very loose sort of vibes based title in a way.
Yeah, skipping it. Yeah,
I don't know what a skip or a loafer is.
I think it means like the actual action
like
of skipping.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, skip
okay.
Like the actual
also like loafer
thing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I still don't get it, but all right.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
very. I think it is a very vibe based thing.
Yeah, he. I think they're talking about like the actual like shoe, like the loafer shoe kind of thing.
And so I guess, but just before Aspire starts, I guess I would say in from what I'm saying to summarize sort of the main point I'm trying to make by bringing all that up is that I think the series' strong suit right now is all of the characters have been very, very strong and almost tropey when they're introduced, but through Mitsumi kind of like change and grow, having her as like the center of their group. And a lot of like odd,
can you
sort of like odd.
Can you elaborate on that
out.
strong a little bit? What do you mean by strong? As in, like you see each of these characters become take up camera time, quote unquote camera time, whatever, screen time, and become important or engaging characters each on their own right? Or what do you mean by strong? Okay.
Yeah. So all of them have something going on. Obviously, like they are tropey in the sense of like Makoto, the sort of like nerdy girl that they meet up with and sort of become friends with in a roundabout way. I guess to make a minor spoiler about it, she's kind of falling into place and trying to join like the student council because she feels like that is essentially her place because she's very shy. She's not really into like fashion or like anything like that, or girly stuff for the most part. But she winds up meeting with what she considers a gyaru, Yuzuki, who's a blonde-haired girl, very into fashion, but not like in the gyaru way, more in like a mature fashion way, I guess you could say, like a more adult fashion. And it's just a more mature character. And so Yuzuki doesn't have a problem with her and wants to be friends with her, but then feels overbearing because Makoto like is closed off to her and doesn't like people like that. But over the course of an episode, there's sort of interactions that they build upon and sort of tackle in a much more real way of coming to terms with each other and being like, no, I don't want to just dislike you from the outset just because you behave this way, or not even behave this way, you look this way and put on like, like that's your style. And yet, you're trying to extend essentially a hand to me and I'm just being an asshole about it. Stuff like that. And so that kind of like happens with a lot of characters. And they sort of are pretty dynamic in that sense. There's another one, which I'll just say like the sort of bit that happens, the sort of arc that they're going through with her, which is Mika, who is a like brunette girl who's really into Shima and doesn't really understand like what's going on between him and Mitsumi, and like kind of wants to get in between them, but finds herself like sort of doubting her intentions. Like there's a lot of monologue where it's like she seems to be like quote unquote the bitch essentially at some points towards Mitsumi, but most people like kind of really aren't catching on to like what she's trying to do except for Yuzuki. And that kind of makes Mika doubt herself and things like that start to happen. And there's a lot of like internal monologue / like internal like change and thought process.
So how much of a sort of general balance screen time is there with regards to the general cast kind of doing their own things and kind of rotating through that versus like Sosuke and Mitsumi and their relationship / how they're like kind of dealing with their lives? You know what I mean? Is there some sort of like specific balance?
Sosuke and Mitsuki are very much the center for the most part. Mitsumi rather. Mitsumi though is basically like the full center. There is not a ton of only Sosuke so far that we've seen. There are some little tidbits of that. As far as the supporting cast goes, it kind of rotates them in and out a lot. There's a lot of group stuff with like almost the entire supporting cast, honestly, like meeting up with each other and interacting with each other. So they all get a ton of screen time.
It's almost like those series where it's like a witch or like some stuff like something like a Natsume Jincho or Kino Tabi or like Majo no Tabi Tabi, where like they go on a journey, right? And they see like these different people and then they like kind of solve their problems or whatever it is, stuff like that, right? It's kind of like that.
It is kind of like
people
that.
are in the classroom, like they don't have to go
and the problems are a little bit more. It's a little bit less of like a hard like problem solved. It's more of like bits of character growth for these people for that episode, and then it kind of continuing after that. Like how do they react now in the next episode between each other, and things like that. There's obviously like there's a little bit of background drama for people. There's some backstory drama, things like that, but it doesn't really seem to be getting too much to like an overly dramatic way that you would expect most series or a lot of series really to tackle that. Because I think the big thing about the series is that there is a ton of like nuance in a way. There's a ton of like little things with character interactions that really aren't like called out or called to. And you kind of have to, sort of identify what's going on there and really think about why characters would do certain things in certain scenes, things like that. Because they don't always rely on like internal monologue. They're not going to throw that out for everything. And there's a decent amount of subtlety in some of it too. I think a major one that kind of captures it would probably be, and this is its own tangent entirely at this point for the character of Naochan, which is Mitsumi's aunt and also a trans woman. But again, what I really like about this series is that it doesn't rely on only internal monologue, only sort of exposition and things like that. Like, it is never stated to you that Naochan is trans. Other than, you know, like, you can kind of get it from obviously her character design and then her voice and things like that. Like, the voice actress they chose specifically is a more what would you call it, has a deeper voice. It's Mitsuki Saiga. She does a lot of typecasted as like male characters as well. But there is a scene specifically in, I want to say episode 2 or 3, where Mitsumi and Nao are on a train and there are just high school girls making comments about essentially like hinting at like, oh, like, what's going on? Like, is that woman? Like, is that a man or is that a woman? And then they're like, oh no, like, no way. And like whispering to themselves essentially. And they clearly overhear it. And so what Mitsumi does is she kind of like changes the conversation with Now or brings up something to change it. And they kind of bounce off of each other from there. It doesn't turn into like it doesn't turn into like a suspense sort of scene or like a, you know, like, I don't know, like a reaction type scene.
The series doesn't let the tone get too out of hand, like not make
well,
it seem like
it's not. Yeah, it's not like, because like the point was more so that to point out like this is something that Now would face, and this is sort of how Mitsumi is going to try and like ease this situation without it turning into like a confrontation, which I think opens up a lot of character interactions, whereas other series I feel like would fall back on whether it be preaching about this situation to you directly, a monologue or exposition, or even something like, you know, turning it into a conflict that is resolved, right? Like, it was very much like this scene doesn't resolve this issue, right? Because you can't resolve it. That's not something you can resolve. It's not, and I feel like there is a
like being uncomfortable, right? It's not.
Well, I mean, it's just like it's people being transphobic. Like, you're not going to resolve that. And I feel like, you know, some shows would straight up try and like do a conflict and then essentially a come to Jesus moment. Have a come to Jesus moment for this person, and then it'd be like, oh, sick, dude. This anime solved transphobia. Awesome. It's like, no. You know, if we're going to show this sort of thing, I think like having it in there as a small part and then just having that nuance in that scene there, not even be really like, you know, not have exposition to essentially explain to you what's happening, is really good. And I think that happens a lot in this series for pretty much a lot of the drama. So I don't know. Yeah, I just think that type of stuff is kind of this series' strong suit, and it's been a really, really good time because of that.
Speaking of that, why wasn't there any sort of backlash when Tomo-chan Onnanoko came out?
I mean, I'm shocked that there wasn't. But the thing with Tomo-chan is, one, it wasn't played off of that, and two, it's like, again, like, we all knew what Tomo-chan was trying to do, right? Like, we knew what type of series that was. It was going to be a very cheesy, guilty pleasure sort of like tomboy childhood friend series. It's not really trying to say anything, right? It is very much an indulgence, because there are even, you know, aspects of Tomo-chan where there's like zero nuance, where what's his name? June fucking literally like rips a like assaulter off of a bus, right? Like, they're like having like those types of scenarios, like, we know what's going on here. Like we know what type of series this is. It's very much like, it's very much, I would call it essentially that indulgence, right? That guilty pleasure of you should probably be seeing that and being like, I shouldn't really, I don't even know what to say. Like I shouldn't really be like, oh wow, this is sick. Like this is dope. Like this is awesome. Love this scene. But it's more so of like,
It's a very definite package.
yeah, it's something that what satisfaction you're gonna get out of it, and it's a much shallower like type of idea. That like Tomo-chan is not resting on the laurels of being nuanced, to say the least. And I guess like
can I?
You know what I liked about
Squire.
Tomo-chan? The title made sense. The series is all about Tomo-chan's trying to be a girl. You said all this stuff.
Yeah, again, like I said, man, there is no skip and there is no loafer.
I'm just saying
There
that.
are but there is skipping and there are loafers because they are wearing loafers and there is skipping and loafers in the ED. So
Hey man, I'm just saying I prefer Chekhov's gun in my writing. If it's called skip and loafer, I want to see skipping and loafers.
well, there is no skipping yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
lame.
Anyways, that aside, I wanted to kind of ask. So how do you think that this is 12 episodes, right? The standard 12 episodes?
Yes.
So how do you think that this series is going to end in the anime? Or how do you think it's going to wrap up in the anime? Is it going to have like the bigger sort of like drama / conflict within episodes 9, 10, 11 and then resolve it, and then they kind of go like there were more adventures after
think
this.
there's probably I think it's probably just
Yeah.
going to be steadier small dramas into character growth, into like sort of like the friend group and class growing closer. I think we'll have stuff like that. I don't think this is going to go anywhere like super crazy with the drama. I hope it doesn't. In a recent episode, it's kind of hinting that Sosuke's laid back nature might be because he either lost his mom or something like that, because they find out that he was a child actor, and he sort of in a more somber moment said, yeah, like I'm kind of done with acting, like I don't want to do it ever again because I was only really doing it because it made my mom happy. And so I guess like, the inference we can make from that is like, well, if you're not acting anymore and you were sort of, you don't seem like, he doesn't seem upset to make his mom happy. Like, oh, like I was only doing it for her. Like I didn't want to do it. It seems more like he wanted to do it because it made her happy. So the inference we can make is she's out of the picture. I could be wrong on that, but that was what I gathered from something like that. So I think like maybe the larger drama might turn out to be more so of like Sosuke finding like what he wants. Because when Mitsumi brings up, this is what she wants to do, this is her goal, he says like, like, oh, that's really like that's really admirable. I don't feel that way about like anything. Like I kind of just am living in the moment and being happy with the people around me. And then she goes, well, when you find something like that, like I'll be there for you, to help you through it, because it goes off of like a story with her and someone in her hometown and stuff like that. But essentially like that turns into their character dynamic right now. Most recently is, when he finds something he wants, she'll be there to sort of push him through it.
So it's a more like a platonic kind of thing right now.
Well, right now it's very platonic. Mitsumi is probably too much of an airhead regardless. But I do think they're going to wind up being a couple in that sense, like growing through that. Maybe that might be by the end of the season, by the end of this too.
So, I'm kind of, so I was kind of like skimming through a little bit of the staff as well. It's by the way, it's PA work. So obviously again, they are still coming out of their probation a little bit. They made some decent stuff recently.
Don't worry. The fact that
Um,
this is like a good series means next
they
PA
ha-
work series is going to be probably the worst thing you've ever watched in your life.
the whiskey series is going to like make every whiskey
Dude,
slash
they're
anime
gonna
fan just
like
like rage.
yeah, they're gonna pull out like the ghosts of like the fucking whiskey barrels, fucking
Yeah,
bombs or
no,
some
yeah.
shit. It's like,
I like how, by the way, so I forget who it was, but one of the like the producers
Bro.
at PA Works was talking about how they released a statement about how, you know how PA Works does like workplace anime, right? Like
yeah.
Shirobako, like stuff like that, like are like specific like workplace like kind of stuff, right? And they
Mhm.
listed Aquatope in White Sand as one of the workplace anime. I'm like, that is not how that works. Like, I don't think
wasn't Aquatope about like
Was that
going
about
to
the whale or the aquarium? Which one?
It was about the
No,
aquarium.
it's like the girls maintain an aquarium, but like half of it was like
That had like ghosts
oh,
and
I
shit
see
in
the
it though, right?
shimmering.
Yeah,
I
that
see
was
like the
weird.
shimmering apparitions of the fish, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's
Like,
not.
what?
Yeah.
That's not
They're
like work.
just-
That's not workplace like typical workplace environment for an aquarium.
Yeah. Okay. See. Here's the four. So workplace series. The current ones, they have Hanasako Iraha, which is like kind of okay, I guess, but it's like it's kind of like vague, but it kind of still works. Shirobako, which definitely works. Sakura Quest, which is like, but I guess it works.
Sure.
And
No,
Aquatope,
Soccer
which is,
Quest
like-
is definitely work stuff. It's just not. It's not
Yeah.
really like work. I mean, it kind of is because it is very much.
It's like it's not a
talking to
specific like
colleagues.
industry kind of thing. It's like
Yeah,
it's just
it's
like
very
girls
much.
working.
Yeah.
Akato, fuck it. Anyways, but yeah, PA Works coming out of the probation. They made some decently okay series, including this one, obviously. The director actually, so you know how we were talking about how this was similar to
Yeah. So
sort of like the people going on journeys like that, right? The director
yeah,
for
this
this is
director is
actually the
definitely
director
interesting.
for
Because this
for
is the
Natsume
director for
Yujincho.
Natsumi Yujincho. So I thought
But he's an
that
expert
was
in
that
these
was very
things.
interesting. Yeah.
And Rolling Girls and Silver Spoon. So he's got a lot of experience in these sorts of like slice of life stuff, just like heading that and putting his good spin to it. So I think this was definitely in good hands, and it was good source material for PA Works. So they kind of
Yeah.
rolled it up into some pretty good work. So I guess do you have any last words for the series?
Let me ask you this, Dark. Is it better than Do It Yourself?
It's
I
also
mean,
very
yeah.
weird
Like
comparison.
again, different, completely different
What?
series.
Apples and oranges, my friend.
Well, then what about Leave It? Was it Leave It to Azoken? What's this series of?
Leave Your Hands Off Azuken, another completely different series.
I don't know, man. I'm getting the same vibes from this.
Entirely different. But yeah, so this series is great. I guess another thing to point out is I would say the art style and the visuals, the audio visuals are godlike. They're really cozy, they're really nice. It knows, yeah, and just the directing is really good. It knows when to transition styles, it knows when to sort of do visual gags, and it's been great. PA Works coming out of the gate swinging.
Yeah,
going to
Return
be
to
up
form,
in the
for sure.
top 2 PA Works based on Works female writers. You know,
The other one.
The other one, Hanasako Urawa. Except we know what happened after that with that author. So hopefully this writer does quite a lot more. This mangaka.
Was fine? Question mark.
Yeah. Yeah, Tamako Market, so cozy it will fucking put you to sleep.
Yeah.
What about Wonder Egg Priority?
Wonder Egg Priority is, we will not be talking about Wonder Egg Priority very much anymore. Wonder Egg Priority might be one of the biggest betrayals in anime of all time.
That was Cloverworks, right?
That was not. That also was not. That was not Okada Marie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Okada
Wonder
Marie,
Egg Priority. Wonder Egg Priority just has the trappings of like.
Hold on. What did Okada Marie write?
A failure like
oh, wait,
that.
No, Hana. Okay.
She's
Okada
gone into
Marie's
pretty
good.
much all movies recently, right?
Yeah, I think she's. I think she's done. I think Okada has done a
think she's
lot
done a
better
couple
with
movies so far.
movies. So.
Hold on, she did a couple episodes of Fate Stay Night. Never mind, she's one of the good ones.
Bro,
Yeah, I
dude,
mean,
she
Okada Marie can.
She did
do
Kisniver,
great.
didn't she? Like,
yeah, and then
yes,
Okada
she did
Marie
because
can
of
do
it.
Kisniver, and Okada Marie
But
can
yeah, she
do.
also did Dragon Pilot.
Okada Marie also did fucking.
yeah,
exactly.
but Dragon.
Again,
Keep in
she
mind,
can
Dragon
do-
Pilot ended horribly. Like, it ended fucking
Yeah,
horrendously.
Dragon.
Like,
But what about
literally everything about that show was golden, and except for the ending.
what about the Savage Maiden thing? What's it called?
Maidens in your Savage Season.
Savage. Yeah, something like that. Didn't you guys like that?
I didn't watch that
What was
because
it?
it was an
I don't
Okada
even
Marie
remember.
series, and I didn't hear
mean,
anything about it.
I mean,
Which
Iron Blood
scares
I
Orphans
me.
feel like somebody covered
got
that.
really became
Yeah,
really
that was the other
bad.
thing. Okada Marie also did fucking Iron Blooded Orphans. So, like, again,
Don't worry. She
whew.
after what 2012, that's when she became bad. Everything else though, pretty good. What else?
Okada
Yeah, I
Marie
mean-
is about as coin flippy as Nitro Plus is, honestly.
Yeah, it's-
Toradora, Sakura So, Anohana, all good.
yeah, she also did
Konosuba
fucking.
I don't know, man. Oh god, True Tears. I hate True Tears.
Yeah,
I'll
she
still put
also
on the
fucking
list.
wrote. She also wrote that other fucking series that was like the survival game with the bus or whatever.
Oh,
Fortnite?
Wait, fuck! I didn't know. Wait, hold up. Wait, I didn't know she wrote the original
Lost
Black Rock
Village?
shooter anime. Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah, she
didn't know
did.
that? She did. Yeah.
Oh my! Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, Dark. You're talking about the Lost Village, right?
Yeah.
That shit was Kino, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Mayoiga. Yeah, she wrote Mayoiga, which has a cool 5.5 on Mall. So like,
Yeah.
My
when you're
Yoga was
hitting
pretty shit.
5.5 with 100,000 users
I mean,
on
keep
Mall,
in mind,
like that's bad.
she was writing Mayoiga and Kisniver within the same season.
Yeah.
Yeah, back
yes.
to back.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like Okada Marie
Again,
is like a very interesting individual because everyone knows she can put out some of the best shit ever, and then she just gets thrown into like she just gets thrown into like a garbage pile, and they're like, okay, but like, can you do something with this? And it's just like, sure.
What I think I think if she's given like a longer anime series, like I usually want to say like 24 to 26 episodes, and it has to be an anime series, not a TV or not a movie. If she's given like 24 episodes, like enough time, and it's like a more of a slice of life, like kind of introspective kind of thing, then she is nearly unparalleled in terms of that stuff.
It's a good
But,
thing
like,
the only thing she's done for the last like 4 years is movies.
yeah, movies and also like random like 11, 13 episode kind of
Yeah.
stuff where it's just like she's handling like random subjects and shit like that, like weird subjects. When she's doing that, that's not like it's not good. Like even before this, like when she's writing like shorter series on weird subjects, think about this record. Like she wrote Hanasaku Iroha, that was good, right? And then
One of the
before
best.
like Anohana, like, you know, obviously I have a very controversial take on it, and I was like, it's too short, and then she kind of wrapped it up, whatever. Like that was like there, and then afterwards she wrote Black Rock Shooter, she wrote AKB 0048, she wrote
Kino.
Blast of Tempest. She
Oh
wrote
yeah.
3 back to back.
Well, to be fair, for Zetsu no Tempest, she was just series composition, right?
Yeah, but series composition is like an overall kind
Yeah,
of
I
thing.
mean,
Well,
she was still.
it is the manga original though. I do agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, wait, was Nagi no Asakura was also original? No, it was manga. Okay. What was the one after? Okay, after AKB 0048, what was the next series where she actually did like an original? Was it Recross? Was Recross really the next one? That was the original?
I don't know.
Is
Holy
Recross?
shit.
Well, I mean, I guess Recross is an original.
Yeah. Although did it have story in the game?
I literally know nothing about the WeCross game, so I couldn't tell you. Like,
I can't believe she went from AKB 0048 to like the next original one being like probably We Cross.
Is that the
Or
one
like
with the dude?
It's either WeCross or IBO, right? Like
Yeah.
What is
It
that
was
one?
We Cross or IBO. Neither of which have the best reputations, but
No.
Who did
although We Cross
Handshakers?
got a little bit of hype, I think. But yeah, I think Okada Marie, when she's in her specific lane with her specific pacing, with her specific medium, with her specific genre / subgenre, she is again unparalleled. But whenever she strays outside of that, it's like, what's happening? I can't believe this is written by her. It's kind of thing. So a little bit of
Alright, we need to do a tier list.
tier list of what?
We need to do a tier
Of
list of
Okada Marie
Makoto
series?
Shinkai, Okada Marie, Nisio
Yeah.
Isin, and
Oh, you mean like
Yeah.
writers? Like
Yeah.
famous writers?
We need to
I'll
do a
get
tier
fucking
like a
crucified.
writer tier list, bro.
Yeah.
That
Bro,
is
if
going
I-
to
if-
that is going to create a
Yeah.
lot of hate mail. I
If
think.
if I posted that on YouTube, I would get crucified. Like
Do it.
that would scare me with regards to this. Like I
Ken
usually don't get
Urobuchi.
scared by social media reactions. That would scare me. Like these nerds will be out for my blood.
Who's the one that wrote Bakemono again? Was that?
It was
Nisio
Nisio
Isin.
Isin, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we let's see, Nisio Isin, Makoto Shinkai, Okada Marie.
I am not going to
Ken
post anything on
Urobuchi.
social media ranking any of those people.
And
Sorry.
Asu.
I value my life too much to be fucking like samurai sorted by some random
What was
otaku on
the-
the streets, okay?
What was the series where all the writers like were playing their D&D characters?
It's Chaos,
Chaos
Dragon.
Dragon.
It's
Yeah,
the
we need to-
Genrubuchi one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to do a tier list based on who appeared in Chaos Dragon.
Anyways, thank you, Dark. Getting back into the matter.
what's your
Sorry for the
rating?
tangent.
But yeah, great
Uh,
great show. Check it out. My rating 10 out of 10.
Nice, good stuff. But yeah, it is Skip and Loafer. Yeah, Skip to Loafer. Yes, yeah, Skip and Loafer. It is a PA Works manga original into anime adaptation. It is headed by the same director who worked on the later seasons, season 5 and 6, and some of the OVAs of Natsumi Jincho, as well as some other slice of life stuff. They're in good hands. Source material is good too. Everything kind of rolled out pretty well. So everything seems to be going pretty well. So please do check it out when you have the time. And next, for me to kind of quickly cover, I think one of the series that was a little bit more hyped this time around, which is Yuri is My Job.
Fire.
this
It's not you can't have that job. You're not Yuri.
I apologize for being
Unless
a
you
man,
identify,
but,
then by all means go ahead.
Yeah. So this is a manga original. This written by, I believe, Miman. Miman is so he's done like some other. He's written some, I think, like small Yuri like not dojins, I guess, dojin level stuff, like very small stuff. Too big. I think this is his like first really big like hit manga series here. But yeah, it is Yuri is My Job, manga original, made into an anime adaptation. Alternative titles, Person in Liebe, or Watashi no Yuri wa Oshigoto desu. This is a Passione anime. So Passione is leading the
Passione.
Passione is leading the charge. So for those of you who might not know, Passione doesn't have the best record. So recently they did Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World, as well as Rene Flops, neither of which were very good.
Speak for yourself, Spire. I see Miracle-chan on here and
Yeah.
Ishizoku Reviewers, I guess. if you're into
Yeah,
that.
the great
Oh.
series, Ishizoku Reviewers. But
Citrus.
they
Citrus
did,
is there. Hey.
yeah. Well, yeah, they do have some bright spots. They did some of the recent Higurashi adaptations. They did Joshi Kosei no Mudazukai. They did Citrus. I think High Tide Nanafa was okay too. But yeah, so they did, Rail Wars, High Tide Nanafa as their debut works. They are heading the animation production along with a lot of subcontractors under their belt. I think most of the subcontractors that you see listed in the credits, as well as on the Anime News Network stuff, are just one or two people that were hired from there. They kind of use a lot of the connections to collect a lot of people who both inside who are both connected with Passione projects, previous Passione projects, as well as just various hiring various subcontractors with various experience. Most of them are a little bit on the newer side to intermediate level people, but yeah. So and some of the 3D stuff is done by Studio Twinkle. I believe again the Studio Twinkle stuff is a couple of people who are heading up, photography and 3D stuff. As you can see, the director of photography, Shiga Surugo, is contracted from Studio Twinkle. Studio Twinkle is mainly known for their photography work, I believe, photography assistance, photography work. But they did help with 3D and stuff like Mirai Nikki, Big Order, Platoon, season 2 of To Your Eternity, stuff like that. So they did do some of that. Yeah, they did hire Suguru Shiga as director of photography from there, but he doesn't seem to be as experienced in so he seems to be a relative newcomer. So it's kind of a toss up to see kind of how he'll form the rest of the anime. But yeah, that's just studio stuff. Director Sanpei Hijiri. He did mainly episode director stuff for various studios. He has been working with Passion since the Rail Wars days, and involved with most of their works from then on. He was also one of the main directors for Joshikose no Mudatsukai, and so this is his second main directorial role ever. And this time he's sort of the only top guy at the helm. With Joshikose no Mudatsukai, there was another sort of chief director above him. Script by Hayashi Naoki. He did work with Passione on Citrus and Higurashi Go and Sots along with Sanpei. So a lot of this Passione is hiring of the Higurashi people and some connections and a little bit of outside subcontractors. He also wrote the later episodes of Flip Flappers, so that's a little bit interesting. So he's one of the better people, I think, at Passione, which kind of reflects in how the series goes, although obviously the source material is there as well. And yeah, most of the other people, like the chief animation stuff, 3 CG people, the music people, general combination of people who are connected with Passione stuff, especially along the lines of Higurashi and the interspecies reviewers teams, and some less experienced people from other subcontractors and lines of work, as well for like storyboarding and episode direction. They did bring along an older head for some music who worked on a few things like Yume no Patissier, Mobile Suit Gundam, Igloo, Okami-san, stuff like that. Character design, Iwasaki Taisuke, who did did a pretty good job. I think he subcontracted from somewhere else, but he did quite a good job of mimicking the manga's visual while not necessarily losing quality. He kind of like softened, rounded out the lines a little bit, but he did make it look a lot like the manga art style, while again not losing the quality. So that's a plus for him here. And they for the sound director, again, Nana Urusuke, they did manage to pull in a veteran who did work with Passione from the start. So that's the general kind of thing. Some veteran, a couple of like 1 or 2 veterans plus the Passione connections. Carrying forward a couple of teams, a couple of members who are holding together a team who are kind of half composed of slightly less experienced subcontractors. So a little bit of a ragtag bunch, but it does work. Going over to the voice acting cast, most of it's the kind of standard, I want to say, A, B listers, ABS listers that you would see here and there.
Who's the hottest one on the group, Spire?
You mean the fictional girls?
No, well, sure.
You mean the real girls or the fictional girls? What?
We'll do both. Who's the hottest?
What do
one
you
of the
mean by
girls?
hot?
Yeah, Spire.
What? I don't.
But you asked the question, Toads. What?
Yeah, I am lost for words right now.
Who's the hottest of the
personally-
main Yuri group? In your opinion?
I don't really like any of them, to be quite honest. Like
Liar.
they're not like they're
You
good
don't like-
characters, but like
you
none
don't
of
like
them are like
Sumika?
wow.
Because she has
Nah.
glasses?
Nah.
All
Bear
right.
hates
Mm.
women, so
All right, then let's change it up.
Yeah,
Who's the
I
hottest?
hate all women.
Let's change it up. Who's the hottest voice actor of the crew? Because there's some really good voice
I've
actors in
always
here.
liked Ogura Yui myself. I've always had.
But she's not
I know
favorite.
I'm bearing a very vanilla person, but I've always liked Ogura Yui a lot. It's hard. Ogura Yui is a very you know her.
Me, I'm gonna say Yukari Tamura for obvious
Hikari
reasons.
Tamura is a very good choice
She
too.
voices Nanoha.
Yeah.
I mean, and then some chick in here, I guess.
All the girls also like all like female otakus like tend to like Yukari Tamura a lot too.
Why?
But
Because they're perverts.
I have no idea. But anyways, standard, pretty good, relatively solid lineup. You know, Uesaka Sumire, Ogura Yui, Seto Asami, what is it? Tanaka Minami, Tamano Yukari, stuff like that. Onishi Aguri are kind of like the named ones, and some of the other people like Koichi Makoto, I would say Sato Emiri, Tamagai Hana, stuff like that, are all kind of like they hired a lot of people for these unnamed roles that are kind of less prolific or less known. So they did a good job of hiring a lot of like the newer bloods here, not newer bloods, but a lot of people who are not, necessarily getting a lot of roles here and there. So good stuff. I will say, just on the note, both Ogura Yui and Uesaka Sumire do a pretty good job of fitting into more, I want to say, standard voice roles. So, for those of you who know these two voice actresses, Uesaka Sumire and Ogura Yui both have a very, very distinct tone of their voice. Like, you can tell even when they're actually voice acting. So, it's like
Kind of
Uesaka
say
has
that about
a
all
very
of
like
them, though. Like I can point out Yukari Tamura
not
from.
really. Like there are some people like Kitamura Eri who's just like very vanilla. Like you can just be like that or like um I want to say even somebody like Kaina Ai, right? She has like her regular voice, but like when she's acting, she can hide it very well. But like for the longest time, I would say Uesaka Sumire had that sort of like Ojo-sama kind of like lilt at the end of the voice, and then like Ogura Yui has that like very whispery, like lolly falsetto, like high tone, like kind of like that voice, right? But in but both voice actresses in this case, I think, managed to kind of settle that down, kind of shove their voice into a deeper and kind of more solid like register with like less breathy kind of nature. And Uesaka Sumire did her kind of One-san voice very well without kind of sounding like her regular voice. And Ogura, you also fit into kind of standard vanilla young girl voice without her super again high whispery falsetto-ish voice acting up. I don't want to say acting up, showing up, right? And so I want to say props to both of them. Although again, it is kind of a pity that um, it is good that they're doing the actual voice acting because that's what they should be doing because they're voice actors. But it's kind of like a pity that they're losing that like distinct voice tone, like quality that made them so like attractive as like sellable, marketable voices in the first place. But yeah, I shouldn't be too greedy, right? But they did definitely a good job in this
Are you
instance.
saying, Spire, that it would have been better if like Marina Inoue or Ayane Sakura was in the series?
I mean, no. I think these people did the good job. I'm just pointing out the fact that a lot of times with again people like Ogura Yui like before or like Uesaka Sumire, it is very like sometimes voice actresses have or voice actors have a tone where it's just like so difficult to set them apart from their real kind of persona, right? So it's like when you hear them voice acting a character, you're like, oh, that's just Uesaka Sumire, but in this character. You know what I mean? It's very hard to kind of like separate that. But some voice actresses can kind of create these different voices very, very. Anyways, so that's like a general overview. I think opening, ending, both sung by Ogura Yui, and then I think the ending was also sung with Uesaka Sumire. Not that impressive. It was very standard, like vanilla kind of stuff. Nothing really to see here. again, audio visuals, quite decent, but it's not like there are a bunch of it's not like there are a shit ton of frames flying around like action scenes or whatever. Most of it was still with like um the mouth moving or whatever, or sometimes even the mouse like weren't like moving, and it was just like the regular like stills of like the two girls just looking at into each other's eyes, like doing like the Yuri kind of scenes, right? So there weren't that many frames, so I think they could have added a bit more money. So this was around what I expected with regards to the visuals, and I'm glad that they didn't disappoint. Going on to the story a little bit, again, the story is just about the girl here, Hime Shirasagi, who is the blonde short girl who usually kind of lives out life, interacts with other people, but it's like all a facade, right? She tries to act cute by, she knows she's cute, so she tries to act cute as a facade and like charming to kind of get along with people and kind of get her own way and stuff like that. She has like one friend, but most other people she has like quote unquote relationships with or are acquaintances with. She keeps up a facade. She keeps them on arm's length, and she just acts cute to again get her own way. There's a couple like stumbles. She gets roped into working for this cosplay cafe, which is, if you guys don't know, it's like a variant of the maid cafe, but instead of just being maids, they're cosplaying and acting out their like concepts. So in like if you go to Akihabara, right, there will be like a ninja cafe. Maybe there will be like some sort of, you know, um fucking Taisho something era, whatever cafe or whatever it is. So you'll have these like different cosplays, and um they will keep kind of in character, and that's part of the cafe's value. So this is so she gets roped into the cosplay cafe, and this cafe's theme is about the Yuri Academy, right? So it's supposed to be, the cosplay theme is supposed to be about this like all girls academy, and they kind of enact these kind of Yuri kind of shoujo manga scenes um that wow the guests, right, that come in, and all the waitresses are supposed to be part members, quote unquote, of this all girls academy and acting out these Yuri scenes and blah blah blah. And so then, with that set as the setting, Shirasagi Hime having to work at this concept cafe, or at this cosplay cafe, the rest of the story just kind of becomes development of Shirasagi Hime along with the other um, characters in the cast. Ayano Koji Mitsuki, the um, the tall, I guess, brunette, brown haired girl that you see in the poster art, as well as the other characters in the cast in the cosplay cafe and so on. And they all kind of have their own interactions and so on. But the main two are supposed to be the main character in Shirasagi Hime, as well as the tall girl, again, her sort of the not deuteragonist, but her kind of um the other person she has to work with, who is again Ayano Koji Mitsuki, who, when they're working together in front of customers, she kind of acts all like pleasant, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But when she's in the back, when she's just with her coworkers and they're just normal people, she acts very crude and curt and uh, kind of obtuse to her, is very acerbic to Hime, and Hime is afraid that Mitsuki, might be seeing through her facade and thinks she's a fraud, and hence that's why she's being kind of cold to her. So that's sort of the interaction, and again, the rest of the series is um, more or less like episodic, but in between each episode, there's inter-episode character development, and that inter-episode character development and the setting of the character backgrounds, character background expositions, serve as sort of the backbone for the episodic kind of like cheesiness and drama that goes on. And there's like a slight comedic thing. I want to say comedic is like 10-20%. Plus, there's like cheesy, like Yuri, Girls Academy, Cosplay Cafe kind of shenanigans that they add in. That's like around like another 30%, 40%. And then the rest of it, kind of 40-50%, is sort of the character developments, like the girl Hime being like, "Oh, what the heck is this girl about? Why is Mitsuki being like so curt and like whatever to me all the time? Like, can I get out of this cosplay cafe? I got roped into here. Like, why am I in here? Can I get out of here? Oh no, like people are finding out that I work at this cosplay cafe, blah blah blah." And trying to handle all of this at the same time. So that's sort of the general balance of these things. As for the overall review, I want to say I think one flaw I think I would like to point out is that there's too I think especially at the beginning, there's too much of there's too much of the an elaboration of how like the Maid Cafe Girls Academy Yuri kind of setting was set up, right? So there's this thing where it's like the manager of the maid cafe is explaining like the lore of the girls academy and like how two girls are like bound together to become like official like older sister younger sister kind of thing, and having all these like German words, and I'm like, this is like not important. Like, this is not important to the story, this is not important to the cheesy Yuri kind of like snapshot like skits within the anime. This is not important to the character development. This is not important to anything. Nobody wants to kind of listen to the fake lore inside the Girls Academy cosplay cafe anime or whatever it is. So I thought this like a specific part of it was interfering quite heavily with the screen time the story could have given to the more like character development and or maybe a little bit more to like the cheesy Yuri skits. I think that the cheesy Yuri skits where like the characters were so like they'll give screen time to two characters actually acting out like the Yuri scenes in the cosplay cafe, right? So it's like one of the girls would be like, like it's just like reading her book, and then the other girl will come and be like, "One is something like, what's wrong?" And like they'll act out this like Yuri scene, right? That you'll see in like a manga, like a Yuri manga, or like a or like Sonohana, right? Sonohana Vito, blah blah blah, the kiss of the petals or whatever the hell the visual novel name is, right? Um, so they'll act out that scene in the anime, and that's cheesy fun. But I would like for the series to just stay with that like general cheesy bent and standard comedy rather than elaborating up on this like random Yuri setting that nobody cares about. I think that's not very important in general for the series. I do think that they had a good pacing of in terms of like bringing in the characters properly one at a time and kind of being like, oh, this character has this kind of idea and this kind of general personality, and then this is how they interact with the other characters, and like bringing in these characters. I think they did a pretty good job with that. Um, but I do think so the character interactions are also kind of like they're okay, but they're set up to be a bit surreal. So like a lot of the characters will kind of overreact, like, oh, like, why did you do this? Blah blah blah. And that's like obviously partly for comedic effect and partly to emphasize sort of the dramatic conflict, right? It does work mostly in this instance, but I do think the pacing of the character background expositions sometimes gets hampered and becomes haphazard a little bit due to these interactions. So what I mean by that is like, um, how do I say this? So it's like a lot of the exposition and like the background, for instance, for Hime, the main character, right, is that she's always living behind a facade, right? And part of why she's living behind a facade is because when she was young, when she tried to, um, when her facade was revealed to the other kids, they all like called her a liar and made fun of her and blah 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 blah, right? So she doesn't want to ever lose her facade, and she also doesn't want to have her facade revealed to others. So that's like part of her shtick, and part of the exposition, part of the story, part of the advancement of the story is kind of dealing with that trauma from before and kind of having the other members of the cast realize her trauma and come to grips with it and kind of help her heal. Right? That's going to be an obvious part of the story going forward. But because the character interactions are always so surreal, like when she's doing something like, "Oh no, did I get caught or whatever? Like, how do I do this?" And then the other characters go like, "Huh? Why did you do that?" Or like, "What? This happened?" Like that because there's these sorts of like, radical reactions to her saying or doing stuff constantly because again, the author wants to emphasize the dramatic conflict or wants to um, create a more of a comedic bent, it becomes a little bit harder for the author to then advance um, the character trying to resolve her traumatic past in a more realistic way because all the characters outside of her, all of her friends and all of her acquaintances, all of the people in the cast around her are always like, "Ugh, why did you do that?" Ugh," like just kind of like rejecting this entire like exposition, like beginning of the exposition in the first place. So I thought it was a little bit unfortunate because I think the character backgrounds themselves and how they are formed are pretty decent. It's just that I think sometimes when the author is taking the character interaction seriously and wants to resolve slash advance it in a more serious manner, the author should have toned down the way the characters interact and made them a little bit more demure, made them a little bit more quiet, made them a little bit more realistic instead of being like, "You did this? I hate you. I hate you so much." Like, I think that's a little bit, I think that sort of just cuts the ability of the author again to be able to reasonably untangle this sort of like conflict, this sort of like psychological trauma in a realistic manner. So a little bit unfortunate. I think though, I think that's a little bit another sort of set of flaws that did rear its head. On that sort of similar subject of being a little bit too cheesy or a little bit too surreal, I think having coincidences. So a lot of these like characters in the cast are kind of connected to each other by coincidences or like they kind of meet each other by coincidence and it's like a red string fate kind of thing. Having back to back to back coincidences as cliffhangers is also a little bit cheesy. I think it's like the first one or two times it happened, it was like, okay, sure. And then like the third time or like the fourth time it happened, it was like, okay, like sure, I guess. Like I kind of understand why you're doing it because you want to speed up the pacing, but you didn't have to be this fast. Like you could have been a little bit slower. You know what I mean? I kind of understand because it's 13 episodes, or like it's just the nature of the manga. But I feel like you could have done a little bit more slowly. Although I do also understand the trap because it's like if you don't speed up that sort of like story, then it becomes like 50 chapters later. What? You were the rival all along? It becomes that sort of thing, right? Um, so I kind of understand why the author wanted to do a faster pacing instead of a slower pacing, but I do think it could have been slowed down like a little bit, right? And it didn't have to be like back to back to back coincidences. So, um, so that was that. In general, though, I think the pacing for overall character development was pretty decent. I Character premises and background setups were definitely, I think, solid. I think these are premises and types of character personalities and interactions, or not interactions, but character personalities and potential developments that can definitely carry an entire story. So it's quite good. Um, and I just do like the general characters. I just I think the world is made pretty much just by having them on the screen and having them bounce properly on the screen. And as long as they don't do anything like super crazy, like the characters and how their backgrounds are set up will pretty much like write themselves, will carry themselves. And I think the author did a good job of writing these initial characters. So I did enjoy watching this quite a bit. And I think if the rest of the episodes, 5 through 12 or whatever, and obviously the rest of the manga, just kind of not write off the characters, that bad phrasing, but write just the characters as they are. Just the characters' personalities, the characters' backgrounds, how would they react, blah, blah, blah. I think if they wrote it like that, I think then it's fine. But the more and more kind of radical interactions, the more like extreme reactions these characters kind of do for the sake of the manga, for the sake of um sort of characteristic kind of reactions, for the sake of comedy, for the sake of emphasizing the drama. The more they do that, I think the more the series kind of falls astray. So I hope it kind of tones it back down a little bit, but we'll see. But yeah, that was sort of my general kind of overview I had. I think it's in pretty good hands. Passione, obviously not the most trustworthy of studios, but um I think most of the people are decent enough, maybe a little bit inexperienced, a little bit greenhorn. But they're doing the job decently so far with regards to audio visuals, especially Iwasaki as the character designer. And I think the source material is quite good as long as it doesn't get too extreme. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for Yuri is my job.
What's fire?
Yes.
Is it better than Sakura Kiss?
Sakura the trick.
Sakura the
Sakura,
trick.
yeah, Sakura trick.
Is the Yuri better?
The Yuri, it's definitely not that. Sakura Trick's Yuri was
Bro,
like
you
off
can't.
the
You literally
charts.
can't. Like
Yeah, Sakura Trick's like
Sakura
Yuri
tricks.
is
Like Yuri is like there is nothing that has ever
unboxable.
come
Yeah, exactly.
close. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
literally 0 to 100. Like fucking episode 1, and then
you know
it
those like
keeps escalating. Like
those like cartoon like boxes or whatever where it's like you spin the crank or you crank it,
Check the box?
you crank the thing on the side, and then it just like it punches you like in the face, like the boxing glove punches you in the face from the spring, like boing, like it pops out. It's like that. It's like Sakura Trick. It's like you crank it up, like episode 1, boom. It's like the Yuri just
Yeah.
hits you in the face. uh, so I think Sakura Trick is definitely a little bit more heavy on the Yuri, to put it lightly. So, but yeah, if you do like some cheesy Yuri like skit interactions without necessarily going full like Yuri interactions, because I don't think any of these are full like Yuri interactions so far. Unlike something like Citrus or Sakura Chick, it kind of just has like the Yuri like skit kind of scenes as part of the cosplay cafe. But if you like that and you like kind of more organic character development, you like more organic character backgrounds and personalities. I won't necessarily say organic development, but if you like more organic character backgrounds and stuff like that and setups, please do check this out. This is again Yuri is my job, also known as Watashi no Yuri wa Oshigoto desu. Again by Passione, creator of such famous series such as Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World, Interspecies Reviewer Citrus, and Real Wars. So please do check it out if you are interested. And
I love Rail Wars.
yeah, on the note of iffy series,
Yeah.
Dark, or sorry, Nier, what do you have for us?
So I watched
The best
What a title.
series?
I watched Dead Mount Death Play.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Best series of the season because it was made by the Durada author.
Yeah. So this is a Geek Toys production.
What a Geek Toys like They made Plunderer. I remember if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
so Geek
That
Toys,
was like
Geek
I
Toys
saw that. I was
did.
like, nope, I'm out.
Geek Toys did Plunderer. They did
They did
Genso Sengokushi. They did Day Life 4.
Kensuke? What the fuck is this? They did Data
Um,
Bullet movies, which is not terrible. I think.
Yeah,
It was pretty decent. And then
and
they did a bunch of like other weird shit, like
yeah,
rewrite it or whatever. What was I remember this series? Wasn't it like not good?
it
It's
was
not
not
good,
good.
right?
Yep, correct. You are correct, my friend.
None
It
of
was,
these were good except for like the data series, but like even that was kind of like carried from this previous stuff.
yeah.
Oh my god.
And yeah, like you said, this is original creator is Ryogo Narita,
Mhm.
who's done Durara,
Bakano.
Bakano. They're the creator and writer of Fate Strange Fake, which a lot of people like apparently. It's getting an anime soon.
Mhm.
Pretty popular
Excited
guy.
for that, Nier?
I am kind of
Excited for a new Saber?
Yeah. And director. I mean, most of the cast here, or most of the staff rather. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of like nobodies. But the director is kind of a bit funny. He directed Sword Art Online, Alicization, Shin Sakura Taisen, which was not very good.
The new one, wasn't that good?
The anime, not really. The game was good. Yeah, the anime was kind of mediocre. He apparently was storyboarder for Overlord, which I think some of the other staff is pulled in from Overlord here. But the funny stuff,
Which season?
first season,
Good.
apparently.
He did some okay stuff like before, like 8 Channel and Saki and stuff like that. But it's like,
Yeah, but
even like,
I mean, it's Saki like season 2 though.
yeah.
Right.
The thing is, like Saki, if you go back to it, it's like Saki is good in that, in its individual episodes. But if you think about how Saki was paced in terms of like the overall anime, like it was not that good. And I say
No.
this as like a Saki fan.
Yeah. But yeah, he was also director for Gakusen Toshi Asterisk, both
And
seasons.
Horizon.
Which is
Horizon was also poorly paced.
Yeah, the Asterisk War, and
Mahoka.
the wonderful Mahoka, or the Irregular Magic High School, if you forget what that one is.
So he does have like
Wait.
issues with like pacing and stuff like that, I think.
These are some pretty good
Maybe, yeah.
series you're talking about, Nier.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. It's pretty amazing stuff. But yeah, he's director, script, and series composition for this.
Yeah, so he's pretty much like he has
the man in
yeah,
charge.
man guy.
Yep.
Yeah, with your questions. So what just can you read the plot summary first?
Yeah, sure. So it's a showdown for the ages as the legendary hero takes on the corpse god Necromancer. But when the dust settles, something isn't quite right. In the final moments of their epic confrontation, the corpse god's final gambit shot was wholly unexpected. Reincarnation magic. Across space and time, a boy named Polka Shinoyama awakens feeling not quite himself.
Shinoyama, get it? I get it.
Who could have expected that the climactic battle between good and evil would turn out like this? So this is a reverse Isekai, if you couldn't tell.
By the way, can I say something? I like how it's like the hero takes on the corpse god Necromancer, and then they're like, wait, we didn't expect reincarnation magic from the corpse god Necromancer.
The corpse god so the corpse god Necromancer is a giant skeleton monster.
Yes.
In episode 1, with a brain in a jar attached to his neck, which is like, I don't know. Personally, I think if you're a corpse god Necromancer, I feel like you've probably transcended the need for a brain. But that's just me.
Or like jars, yeah.
Yeah. So he's like a big skeleton kaiju with a brain in a jar.
Mhm.
And then the hero is, the hero, and he defeats him. But in the final battle, he casts this weird looking magic, and the hero is like, I've never seen magic like this before. And then the hero's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna kill you anyway. So he does that. He beats the corpse god necromancer. And then we wake up with our protagonist, who is, gasp, the corpse god necromancer. He wakes up in the body of recently deceased Shinoyama Polka, who is a young high school boy who was recently assassinated for some mysterious reason.
What?
Yep.
Wait, assassinated?
Yes, he was assassinated. There was a hit on him, and he was assassinated. So he wakes up. His neck has been fucking completely cut wide open. He's got blood all over him. And he decides to walk the streets of Japan. And then the police go up to him, and they're like, dude, are you okay? And he's like, I don't know what's going on. And then our female lead, Misaki Sakimiya, rescues him from the police, right? And then she tries to kill him again because she's the
Nice.
one who killed Shinoyama, right?
Oh, so she's like one of the church people or whatever?
No,
She's one of the dead mounts?
she's just an assassin.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
she's the assassin that killed Shinoyama, right?
Yes.
And she's like, why aren't you dead? So she tries to kill him again. And then she chases him into this abandoned building that was used by Yakuza to like torture and kill people, basically, as they do, right? And because of all the dead spirits and stuff, he's able to reawaken his corpse god necromancy magic, right? And he fucking kills Misaki like super hardcore with a big spiky skeleton hand. And
Okay.
he's like, and he goes, oops, damn, I didn't mean to do
Oops.
that. So he revives her as a zombie. And then
Okay.
the assassination, the assassin guild or whatever the fuck organization, that had the hit on Shiniyama is like, why are you magic? Like what the fuck's going on? And he basically
Okay.
gives the big lore dump. And the leader is like, okay, I believe you. And they give him a place to
I
stay.
get it.
Yeah, they give him a place to stay. And they're kind of like, all right, you work for us now. And he's like, all right, sure.
Okay.
And then he saves a bunch of kids from a burning building for some reason.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Because even though he's the corpse god, necromancer, and I'm gonna say that every time.
I like how you have to kind of pause to remember the third part. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck, I know there was a third kind of qualifier.
Yeah, even though he's the corpse god necromancer, he values life, especially children's lives, right?
Yeah, as you do, right? Yes.
Yeah, of course. And then it goes into his backstory, right? And apparently,
Wait, how many times is he doing because you said that there was a previous lore dump where he tells the boss of the Assassin's Guild what he was. Why is he
Yeah.
going into a second lore dump here?
Well, it's like I don't know, it's like a dream sequence or something. It's like a weird storybook segment where it's kind of just like, yeah, by the way, in his previous life he was born with these special evil eyes. And with the evil eyes he can see especially spirits, right? Of the
Oh,
dead.
this is talking about Polka, right? Specifically. not
No,
Corpse
this
God.
is the Polka's gone, right? He's
Oh, so
fucking
the Corpse
dead.
God is also talking about his own elemental eyes.
Yeah, so the corpse
Okay.
god in his previous life was born with special evil eyes, and he was able
Okay.
to see the spirits of the dead.
Nice.
And because he was able to see the spirits of the dead, the Empire or whatever used him and trained him as a necromancer, and used him to wage wars and stuff. But then eventually the Empire was like it fell, right? But because he's a fucking necromancer and he's in like a skeleton body at this point, he's basically immortal, right? And he keeps talking about how he just wants like a peaceful life or whatever. So he sort of exiles himself to like this cave or whatever. And then within his like life of exile, he starts taking care of these like this group of orphans, basically, right? And he ends up, getting attached to these kids, and they sort of grow up with him, and they make like a small village, right? But then the church comes along, right? And the church is like, these kids and this village are thralls of the necromancer, right? So they all need to be torched and burned at the stake and executed and stuff.
Yeah, the usual stuff.
And so they do that, and then the necromancer dude's like, what the fuck? Like, why'd you do that? So he decides to get revenge, and he kills all the soldiers. And then he becomes, the corpse god necromancer, the big bad evil skeleton dude. And then, the hero defeats him.
Wait. So he was only a regular necromancer before, but
Yes.
then afterwards he becomes the corpse god necromancer.
Yeah, he becomes the corpse god necromancer because like they didn't really go into it too deep. But it's basically like,
But he like tried to gain
so
more power.
he
to,
killed all the soldiers, right? And
Yes,
then
yes.
he reincarnate, like zombifies them or whatever, right?
Yes.
And because of all the dark magic and all the corpses and stuff and all the spirits, then like more and more spirits sort of got drawn to the cave, and his power grew and grew, and he essentially became like this giant skeleton lord, right?
Okay.
And his magic got stronger, basically.
Mhm.
But yeah, essentially they sort of say that like he was only evil realistically in the eyes of the church, and he was only really lashing out because the church like killed all of his friends and family, basically.
Okay.
Which is understandable, I think. If you've got corpse god necromancer powers, you might as well use him, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, that's his basically his backstory. He values life to an extent, right? He thinks life, like human lives, are essentially like the way they describe his morality is a bit odd. Like they say, human life is sort of a toy in his eyes, but toys are, tools to bring joy, right, to children, basically.
Okay.
So he's sort of a weird little dude. But yeah, that's the sort of basic setup is, it's a reverse Isekai. He's a necromancer god. He gets set up with this sort of like assassination like sort of job, and he takes on like assassination jobs of, like taking out bad guys, basically. And
So other than obviously the exposition or whatever, which is also kind of like a subplot or like a sub kind of
Yeah.
like something else other than the other sort of backbone of the series. So the main thing is that it's mini arcs, right? Not episodes. It's not episodic. It's mainly mini arcs.
Yeah, it seems to be. It's probably gonna be mini arcs with a general overarching plot, if I had to guess. Because
The
there's
overarching plot is going to be like kind of going back to him, like resolving everything with
Yeah.
everybody who are wrong with him.
There's a lot of characters that they've introduced so far, as would expect from the Durara creator.
Yeah.
In the first couple episodes, he gets his position as the weird assassination thing. He's sort of being taken care of by Misaki, who's again the assassin girl who's now a zombie. She's also a bit of a psychopath. She fucking loves killing people. And then Takumi, who's sort of like this, guy in the chair, like computer whiz. He's like the information broker. He's the hacker man, right? That sees all the security cameras. He's pretty base too. He's like a otaku kind of guy. And then in the last episode, like episode 3 at the end, they revealed these 2 like detectives, and they're like occultic detectives, right? Like they deal with cases that are like, weird, with like ghosts or werewolves or whatever the fuck they alluded to at the end. So yeah, I think that's sort of going to be like the main like mini arcs, is sort of, the detectives sort of chasing down the main character as he sort of goes through these like, arcs of dealing with bad guys or whatever, right?
Right. And
And then
most of these bad guys are like the church people, or is it like just like random people he's
it's
like
just
contracted
like
to assassinate?
just bad dudes, like just bad
Yeah, okay.
people, like serial killers or whatever, like
And
child
how
killers.
much of like a power fantasy slash, or like how much of a struggle is it? Is it mostly kind of like he's just like, yeah, I'm
No,
just gonna walk in.
he has all of his magic, right? So he's OP as
Okay.
fuck, right?
Okay.
He's able to summon skeletons and make big skeleton arms, and like he could basically just sweep if he wants to.
Okay.
But can he beat Ainz?
Probably not. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the fights aren't like tense or anything. It is very much like a power fantasy kind of thing.
Mhm.
But they're they're cool. Audio visually, I think the show looks serviceable. It's very gray, which is like I guess
Well, how it's
something.
supposed to be.
Yeah,
right?
I mean something you'd expect from something called Deadmount Deathplay with the corpse god necromancer as your main character. But yeah, I also think they I don't know if they're actually going to do anything with it, but I feel like they're going to bring like the hero from the previous world into like the modern world somehow, because like,
But he's gonna be like definitely an asshole, right? Like that's
well,
how
more than
this
likely he's
story's
probably
going.
going to be a villain, right?
Mhm.
Because like in the first initial like fight they do, like the hero doesn't really say anything, right? Like he's kind of just like a badass, right?
Let me ask Nair, is the hero a boy or a girl?
He's a boy. He's a
Alright, then
dude.
never mind.
He's a short-haired, brown-haired dude in armor. Like,
If
Yeah,
they try to make it
Ryogo
a
Narita
girl, I'd be
has
like,
a
oh, here we go.
Ryogo Narita has a fetish for having dudes duke it out in the
yeah,
middle of urban streets. So
yeah. So, but yeah. I will say, this series is a lot more self-aware than I thought it was going to be. Right?
the thing is, it's like the general idea of the general theme of the story, like the whole like lore and the corpse god whatever aside, like the general
Yeah.
theme and like the setups of the story is quite standard. It's like it's very much like,
Yeah, I mean it's pretty
oh
standard, but it's
yeah,
also like
yeah.
a lot of like the corpse god necromancer stuff. A lot of that is really hammed up. It's sort of
Yeah,
like intentionally.
I'm
It's
not saying
intentionally
standard in
cheesy.
a negative way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying it in a positive way. It's like pretty standard. It's like it's just very interesting. I think that's might be the word I want to stick with right now. It's very interesting that Ryugo Narita took a relatively standard structure, but then thought like he could kind of run with it by literally just being like, okay, but what if corpse god necromancer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like an interesting way to sell things.
And to be fair, I think it works. I think it works pretty well.
Yeah. It's
Like
the equivalent of like having like a plain cake, but then the frosting on top is like there's so much like random icing, like
yeah.
it's like
And
that.
it's cheesy, it's corny, but it's
But it
really
works.
endearing, right?
Yeah.
Like the characters are all very likable. There's a good balance of like, them being sort of like serious, like character moments, like when they're talking about the backstory and stuff. And then like, some more comedic moments, and then, just being like, yeah, I'm the corpse god necromancer, and all the characters around him being kind of like, what's up with this dude? You know, like get a load of this guy kind of stuff. But yeah, it's all very cheesy. It's all very corny, and it's very enjoyable. I really thought, like, I kind of thought this series was either going to be like really like chuny and dumb, and like completely like straight face, and it's like, yeah, like he's so cool because he's the necromancer guy and he's awesome and badass. But you know, it's not really like that. And
What's that? What was that one series that like one really cheesy series where it's like they had like the couple or whatever? It's like it wasn't asterisk. It might have started with another A. Do you Toast? Do you know the series I'm talking about? Like
One?
the
Which one?
never mind. It's like it might have started with an A, but it's like it's not asterisk core. It's like it has a boy and a girl, and they're like both Okay, wait, never mind. Sorry, you're going. I'm gonna try to remember the title later. But it's like they're a very cheesy series, but I think this series is definitely avoiding the negative parts of that. Sure.
yeah. Again, I do think it's pretty early. There are definitely a lot of pitfalls this series can fall into, because they do set up quite a bit of. There's a lot of threads here, right? Like I said, there's the potential storyline of them like continuing with like the hero coming in and trying to fuck shit up. There's like the weird plot, like subplot of like they don't know who exactly put the hit on Shinoyama, like the original body, who, by the way, like Shinoyama's soul like is still like around, like the necromancer dude like put it into like a drone, and he can still like
Nice.
communicate with the like the dude's soul. So like there's that mystery of like who ordered the hit. There's the mystery of like who Shinoyama actually was, like to get the hit ordered on him. There's like the mystery of these detective dudes. There's the mystery of who these like assassin people really are and why exactly they're just like totally willing to give this necromancer dude a place to stay and a job and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of plot threads that are set up early on, which again you would expect from the creator of Durarara. But it's just a matter of like how they actually, manifest those and expand upon those, as to whether they actually bear fruit or not, right?
Do you think this story does a little bit better job of making the cast a little bit more compact and not like
Yeah.
having the cast
So
be super chaotic? Because I know Jurada like
because
Jurada like started out kind of okay, but then it became very incoherent later on in like
yeah,
the later
so
arcs.
Durara, I think the issue with Durarara is it introduces like all of its characters almost immediately. Like they do the thing where it's like, a character will be walking down the street and they'll have a conversation, and then the camera will pan like across the other side of the street, and there's this other character that's having their own conversation, and then like these two characters that have been introduced like back to back, they won't even like meet each other until like season 2 or something, and it's like, well, why did you like why are you like having all of these plot lines going on at the same time when they're not necessarily even like impacting each other at all, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
I think this cast of characters is initially smaller, right? They haven't introduced a shitload of characters all at once.
Yeah. That's important.
So that is also another like benefit to this series. A lot of the plot lines that they've sort of established are like, it's like it isn't really anything concrete. Like it's a lot of foreshadowing. So they can go with one or the other and not necessarily have to do all of them at once. Which is another benefit that this series has going for it. whether they actually do just focus on one or the other is, another question. But I do think this series sort of initial setup is definitely a lot more like easy to follow than Durarara was. Because I remember like initially watching Durarara and being like, like, am I supposed to know like
Every single
what?
one of these
Yeah,
characters, yeah.
like all of these character motivations and how exactly like the events of these storylines are impacting the other, and it's like no, they're kind of just happening.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
I do
Nier,
think the initial setup for this is a lot more cohesive and comprehensive, which is a big boon.
but Nier, is it better than Tokyo Ghoul?
I mean, a lot of things are
Yeah,
right.
it's not a very hard
So
bar to.
I would
I-
say yes. I mean, this series isn't like an edgy like, oh, I'm a fucking badass ghoul hunter and I'm cool and awesome and there's blood and gore. Like this isn't one of those series, So
I also, by the way, I remember the name of the series I want to set as a contrast. It's not like it's definitely a little bit more aware than something like Twin Star Exorcists,
right.
where it's like
Oh.
you had the I'm a
What about
powerful
Aono
expert.
Exorcist?
What?
Not Aono Exorcist?
Blue Exorcist.
Yeah, I don't know. Exorcist is a little bit different. I
Yeah.
think that's a
I
little
mean
bit.
that's
Yeah.
more of a just a general shonen.
Yeah. But yeah, something like Twin Star Exorcist or whatever stuff like that is definitely much less
Yeah.
aware, and they're just like. But okay. Um, anything else that you want to cover for Dead Mount Death Play? I'm glad that it kind of ended up being better than we feared it might be in the previews. But
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I think I was also surprised by the other visuals. They're a lot nicer looking than I would have
from what you expected
expected
from Geek
from
Toys, yeah.
Geek Toys. The fight scenes are actually, pretty nice. They're not like the best, right?
Yeah.
But from a studio like Geek Toys, it's like, this actually looks pretty decent. The CG doesn't look terrible. There's quite a few CG skeletons in the show. But personally, I think the CG skeletons kind of brings up the campy factor and it makes it a little bit more enjoyable. So, that's just my personal opinion though. But yeah, the CG doesn't look too bad. But yeah, overall, I was pleasantly surprised. I think this is the current like skeleton of this feels like a very solid like 7.5 out of 10, I'd say. I think it's a pretty easy recommend for someone who wants like, a slightly more comedic yet still somewhat serious, you know, series. Maybe somebody who's looking for something a little bit more fresh on like the Isekai take, because again, it is a reverse Isekai, similar to something like Devil is a Part-Timer, but maybe a little bit more serious than that.
Yeah.
Didn't
yeah.
the season two of Hataraku Mason kind of suck though?
From what I heard, yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I warned everybody about that as well, where it's like,
yeah.
I don't want to get into it. Yeah.
But yeah, overall, solid start. I think it's definitely worth checking out.
And Yogo Narita doesn't stain his name, at least.
Yeah,
Sensei.
not yet anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very, very much for helping to cover Dead Mount Death Play. I know you kind of thought that you were potentially taking a bullet for the team, but I'm
Yeah,
glad
for
it
sure.
didn't turn out like that. Yeah, and it is originally by Yogo Narita. It is a manga original, right? I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
It is a manga original. Turned into an anime adaptation, of course, by Geek Toys and whoever else that they were hiring. A little bit of an interesting team, but they definitely made it through. Source material ended up being better than expected. But yeah, if you want to check out some Ryugo Nate's news work and something that's pretty, solid, smooth sailing for in terms of like character structures, but it also has, the name of the corpse god necromancer and all that stuff. You want to check that out? Please do check out Dead Mount Death Play. And with that,
I'm gonna remember
we are-
that title like a year from now. I
Yeah.
won't.
just type like Dead and Death anime like enough
Yeah.
like into Google, and you'll probably find
Dead,
it. Yeah.
Death, Corpse God, Necromancer, anime.
Yeah, exactly. That's unironically a good way
Yeah.
to find it. Oh, jeez. Anyways, we are finally on to the news here. I'm just going to quickly go over. We don't have that much stuff. First off the list. So, this is just going off, I think, sort of a new, I don't want to say mini rant, but like a general kind of topic that I want to form, an idea that I want to form as we go on ahead for the viewers out there. Some people might have noticed that I kind of like forming groups of news articles and kind of like grouping them under like a general idea that has been forming as the years go by. One is obviously the problems with the anime industry that have kind of blown up on Western social media these days, but obviously we kind of saw it coming as we saw like the news kind of developing it, right? I think this is another big one where Chinese media is reporting that Shinkai Makoto's Suzume, also known as Suzume no Tojimari, film has earned about 109 million US dollars in China as of Monday. The film's earnings in China have now surpassed its total earnings in Japan as of Sunday. The film has ranked out at number 1 on its opening day on many countries' box office charts. It is now the highest selling Japanese anime in China of all time, which is surprising again because usually it's something like Demon Slayer, Pokemon, Spirited Away, or whatever. And it sold more tickets in South Korea than any other Japanese film. And also, the first Slam Dunk or whatever, right? That was also extremely popular in South Korea and I believe in China as well. So this is, I think, again, important because places like Brazil, places like China, places like South Korea are especially becoming a very big market for these sorts of things. And it's no longer just, anime movies. It's just Demon Slayer and Naruto or whatever. I think, although it is kind of like Makoto, part of it is the Makoto Shinkai magic, right? Shinkai Makoto magic. I think this really shows a pathway in which other shows or other TVs and like anime stuff like that can become hits as well. I think maybe in 2023 or 2024, if like something like A Silent Voice had released, I think it would have been much better received, right? Something like Bell, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good way to kind of like potentially, if we sold it more to like places like China or like South Korea or Brazil or wherever, I think anime movies will have a much bigger future. And I think it's a big sort of another proper media to take care of because obviously we have anime in sort of quote unquote the bag, right? Like people watch anime all over the world and it's like getting a little close everywhere. But movies definitely aren't as
Well, I think the real key factor with stories like this that a lot of like, Western cinemas should sort of, I think, maybe like look at is not necessarily just like anime is becoming more popular. It's more of just the fact that like these markets, right? Like Suzume, like the fact that the idea of Suzume topping Chinese box office earnings, right? Like that is because Suzume probably had more than one day of screenings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're
like,
getting more like proper infrastructure down there too.
Yeah, that movie Suzume was probably in theaters for weeks. You know, it probably had screenings going on all day long. And this idea that like, anime just isn't popular in the movie theaters in the West is like objectively not true because every time there's
or like other mediums in general.
Yeah,
it's like,
every
it's not
time
just
there's
about
an
the
anime, like anime movie or just animated movies in general, right?
Yeah.
Or foreign movies in general, right?
It's like, unless we have Studio Ghibli, it won't be popular.
Yeah, it's like there's always this shit where it's extremely limited screenings. It's only in like the middle of the city. There's maybe 2 days max with like 2 screenings per day, and 2 of those screenings, one of them is dub, one of them is sub, right? And so you have these like you have like this model where it's like you're literally just shooting your revenue in the fucking kneecaps, and then you turn around and wonder why like the box office tickets for foreign and animated films are lower. It's like, well, you're literally not letting people buy the tickets, dude.
Mhm.
Like it's really
And I
silly.
think that would also introduce a pretty good, like movie theaters and like companies are these days are always like worrying about, how are we going to get more people to the box office? Like we keep trying to sell $60 Avatar tickets, but we can't do that. Like, well, open up this audience, right?
Yeah.
Like you have this audience that's eager to get these earlier screenings of these movies without having to, wait months and months and months for the official DVD or even months for like the the subs on somewhere, right? I won't say where, right? Somewhere, right? Or whatever, right? They want to see the early screening at the movie theater or whatever. And I think that's a really good kind of thing to catch, especially after these precedents of the Shinkai Makoto movies, after something like um again Demon Slayer, right? After even something like Bell, right, which was relatively still well received, right, here and there.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good opportunity as well, and I think some people are tuning into it, but I think it really needs to be dialed up to 9, 10, 11. Sure. That, and obviously it would be nice if visual novels made a comeback too, but that's more of a problem with the general industry in Japan than it is here. But yeah, on like a similar note, also, High Dive. High Dive is a anime broadcasting slash localization company for Brazil, and I believe some other places in like South America as well. High Dive announced on Friday that the first episode of the television anime adaptation for Akasaka Aka and Yokoya Rimengo's Oshinoko manga became the streaming service's #1 series launched in the streaming services history last week. The series ranking is based on the number of views it achieved in its first week on the streaming service. High Dive also stated that the debut shattered all trial starts records for High Dive, delivering the most trials added in the streamer's history. Obviously, this speaks to um, the popularity of Oshinoko, right? But it also, I think, again, speaks to the clearly growing nature of and power of both the digitalization platform powers and the general, other markets, right? It's no longer just like the US, even like UK markets, whatever. It's like, again, Brazil, it's the Philippines, it's China, it's South Korea, it's, like it's all these, emerging markets that people need to, I think, look at and really kind of sell to instead of being like, no, manga digital service only in Japan and maybe some whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Well, High Dive's also in North America as well, right? But
Yeah, High Dive's in North
I mean
America, but
they're
I think
trying to
their
be I think
focus,
they're trying to
yeah,
be a bit more global.
High Dive is related to Sentai Filmworks.
Right. I think High
yeah.
Dive's trying to be a bit more global than something like fucking Crunchyroll, which kind of just half-asses their other languages, right? So
Half-ass is localization in general, really.
I mean, yeah, they
So,
half-ass the English, but you know,
yeah.
like even a step below is like other languages, I'm pretty sure. So
But yeah,
You
so
know what else
that's
High Dive
sort of
has? That dog one.
the Inukai Sun or whatever it is. The
Yeah,
one that you
that's on
covered.
there.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Also,
Unfortunate.
Oshinoko, never heard of it.
it's true.
Anyways, what is it? And last piece of news before we go on to shoutouts, callouts. This is a really funny one that I usually don't mention. Oh, there's one other piece of news after this. I'll cover that in a bit. But so for those of you guys don't know, there is like, I mean, I don't know how popular of a meme this is in the Western anime community now, but it back then there was this very, I guess there still is. There's this like very popular internet meme slash anime related meme, um, kind of related to gay dudes, right? And it's like the guy like sitting on a bench. It's like Yaranaika, like right. And
Yeah.
if you're any sort of like Japanese otaku, like manga or anime related otaku that's been deep enough in the mud, you'll know like this face, right? So
Is that a
it is
VTuber thing, Spire?
No.
no, it is not. So this sort of like the Yaranaika, right? The guy sitting on the bench, the sort of like homo kind of gay kind of homoerotic whatever kind of
That nowadays,
innuendo, right?
Spire?
Is originally from the manga Kusomiso Technique by Yanka Junichi. So that manga is getting the first quote unquote
They have it in the PV too.
Yeah, exactly. So they had actually got a crowd, or so they actually got a quote unquote official anime for it. Started up called Shin Yaranaika. It's even in the title. Um, so
For the modern age, I get it.
it is actually, yeah, it's like new cooking master boy or whatever. Yeah, it's like, so it's launching its crowdfunding campaign on Thursday. The anime's official Twitter account also revealed the below character design sheets for the anime. And if you look at the design character sheet, it's literally that dude.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't have that copyright character on that bench. I know who that is. Did you guys see the PV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's that mysterious character about 148 in near? You can't have her in there.
Yeah.
But
Legally
yeah,
distinct, dude.
So, by the way, the crowdfunding campaign, blah, 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 the rewards for sponsors in this crowdfunding campaign will include art, the digital script, and storyboards, Abe's face mask, an online preview screening, signed posters, a listing of the project's website, and on-screen credits, the anime itself in MP4 format and Blu-ray discs, the story's iconic blue coverall outfit with the anime's logo, and an invitation to the preview screening party in Matsumoto City. Sponsors at the 3 million yen, which is around $22,000, King of Yaranaika tier, will receive a life-size light-up Abe character panel and a voice acting role in the anime. They're really trying to milk it for all its
Yeah, I mean,
plot.
this is just Japanese shit posting at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like they want money, but they also want to die with their memes.
Yeah.
This is how. Yeah. So, yeah, it's the Yaranaika meme coming to anime near you. I don't know what else to say.
pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty good. And one last piece of news. Again, a while ago I did cut away a lot of like people related news, but I thought this was pretty big. So the voice actor James Carter Cathcart, who voiced the English versions, Pokemon English versions. What is it, like Professor Oak, Gary, Team Rocket's James, Meowth, stuff like that. Um, he unfortunately has now he is now retiring from the Pokemon anime slash franchise due to an advanced form of throat cancer. So again, please do wish him a hopefully the safe rest of his days. Nothing super serious. Um, it is a little bit unfortunate to see him go, retire, but he had a very big career with regards to obviously Pokemon as well as some other stuff and like the Yu-Gi anime, Revolutionary Girl Tennis, stuff like that. So obviously, again, very unfortunate. He had a very prolific career. Just want to give a shout out to that. And now we come to our callouts and shoutouts. So everybody here gets one shout out, one call out each. And so shout out is one thing that you want to uh, rave 5 out of 5 stars, thumbs up about, and it can be any one person, place, or thing. And call it is exact opposite, 0 out of 5 rant. Stomp your feet in rage about it. And it can be any one person, place, or thing. And we start now with Dark.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, my shout out is going to be to shout out Honkai Star Rail. It's pretty good. It's got good music, cool characters, and a fun story. And a fun mascot. And pretty fun dialogue. So yeah, that's been pretty good. And I think my call out is just gonna be to generally like the people who are playing the fucking SF6 cracked beta cheating, because I think that's very silly.
Yeah.
But Dark, you can build your character anywhere you want. The hitboxes, man, the hitboxes.
Yeah,
It's
the
gonna be
hitboxes
weird.
that are subject to change 8 months.
Depending on
Oh,
how
that stuff. Oh
depending on
yeah,
how
no,
weird
I
you make
mean
your
that
character,
shit's gonna
yeah.
be
Yeah, I
ridiculous.
mean that shit's just in like that shit's just in the story and the there's like a side thing, right? Where you can take your fucked up created character online.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Super long arms.
Yeah, I mean that's
super short.
again. I think ultimately SF6's goal is. I mean SF6 is going to be a pretty good, I guess, entry into like trying to make more content for fighting games. Other than just simply, versus after a while, versus after whenever you finish like all the arcade stuff for like a really casual player. But yeah, ultimately I just think I just think that people thinking that like people are getting a little overblown with how much they think that the cracked beta is actually going to fucking do anything. So, and also like to call it cheating is so stupid, but in general it's like one, it's the most fair situation you could have, because like, well, how unfair is people who are able to get into the closed beta like then? Like how fair is that? And then also, I was talking to Nier the other night of like the whole fairness factor for tournaments is so stupid to even like start to get get into, just because, then you're looking at what about like QA testers? Like, should QA testers just not be able to enter the tournaments? What about the fact that there are people who get paid to stream the game? Like, that's not fair, technically. And yet there are people who win tournaments who aren't paid streamers, or there are people who win tournaments who have more responsibilities than other people who are like sponsored. Right? Like there are people who win tournaments that like have families. There are people who like, and in top eights, how many people are sponsored to stream and play that game every day? Only one of them is winning. So like, yeah, obviously there are advantages, like, and then, but at the end of the day, like, kind of doesn't really matter. Like, if you were someone who was going to be a top player, like, you're going to be a top player regardless. It doesn't matter if some fucking random person gets to play on an 8-month outdated beta for longer. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. Thank you, Dark. What about you, Nier?
Sorry, I just got like hit like fucking flashbanged. I just posted it now, the Discord. Fuck, man. I mean,
Alright, well, ignoring that, anyways, what is your
yeah. Shoutouts, I think, to my recent luck in FGO. I recently decided to, on a whim, do a couple of single pulls on Mysterious Heroine X banner.
Didn't you already have her?
X Alter,
Oh,
rather.
okay.
And I spent 2 tickets, right? And I got 2 of her. So that was pretty cool, getting, back-to-back SSRs, a little bit poggers, if you will. As for callouts, I mean callouts to EA. I think EA fucking sucks ass. Hot take, really hot take right now. I think when your developers go to you and say, "Hey, this game's not ready yet. We need to delay it." You should probably give them a bit more time than a single month. But investors and capitalism is really cool. So just push out a fucking broken game without enough time to iron out the kinks and really polish it, right? So
Yo, you
yeah.
gotta hit that timeline and make that money. You can't pay labor any more hours than the CEOs the shareholders are allowing you to have. So
Yeah, really awesome.
All right. I guess thank you, Nier. What about you, Toast? Colin?
I'm gonna shout out. I don't know. VTubers, sure. I'm gonna shout out
Okay.
the Hollox Cops and Riders event. Yeah, that was cool in Minecraft. Yeah, yeah.
And your call out?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's not cool. I'm gonna shout out or call out. Oh, I'm gonna call out. What's it called? Yeah,
Yeah. What is it?
yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
yeah.
As in. All right. So I guess
You hear what I
nothing.
said? What? No? You didn't hear
No,
what I said?
No.
Oh.
no,
No. Well,
bro.
what is it?
Oh, hello?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear
They
me?
are silencing him. What is it, dude?
What?
What?
I'm gonna
What
shout
are
out,
you?
call
Call
out
out?
Spy Games.
All
Side
right.
games?
Screw those
Okay.
guys.
Yeah. Okay.
For what?
Why didn't they make their mobile game uh branch better? Is it Spy Games or is it
For
I mean,
what?
for what? In regards to
with
what? Cygames is opening new studios.
yeah, screw those guys. Why didn't they do it earlier? Why did so many good games have to die?
I mean, it
What
would be
happened?
funny if we saw Pre-Kone come back.
I mean, if it did, then it'd be like, damn, that'd be the perfect end.
Yeah, I mean, they fell for the wiles of Crunchyroll, so
Yeah, I guess screw those guys. Princess Connect
Okay.
had to die before this. For this, I mean, is that why they lost so much money? They're like, oh, that was a really bad idea to give to Crunchyroll, so
Probably.
I
make our
think
own.
at this
They
point
probably regret that.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like at that point, I don't know how much they could kind of help with regards to giving it to Crunchyroll because it's not because like Crunchyroll is like awesome and has all the services and all the best precedents. It's more like Crunchyroll and obviously their um kind of parent company, which is I believe Sony Pictures, right? Sony Pictures now is more or less kind of cornering the market. They've cornered the market, especially after the Funimation after the merging with Funimation, right? Um, Not only have they kind of cornered the market in terms of anime localization and rights licensing for localization, but also because they are under Sony Pictures, it's like, okay, like if you're going to reject uh, Crunchyroll, you're essentially fucking with Sony Pictures. And if you're fucking with Sony Pictures inside the anime industry, you are not helping your case. As cruel as it sounds, it's like you're getting fucked. So it's a very bad situation where they kind of have to, with regards to like anime related stuff, anime mobile games, whatever stuff like that. They kind of have to roll with whatever Crunchyroll kind of offers them, at least at first. But now, obviously, Psy Games is one of the few um, studios, not studios, but like one of the companies that have enough money to make their own like branches and other studios and localization
Yeah.
efforts, of course. But other places might not be as lucky, right? Even side games isn't like side games is not necessarily like making all the money. Like oftentimes, most of their games tend to be in the red.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
just that
them opening these branches is still a gamble. Like
yeah, and again, like the reason, like these games, a lot of these games, and like a lot of side games overall, like profits are not putting them in the black. It's actually putting them in the red. It's just that the games that side games creates allows their parent company, which is Cyber Agent, which controls both the kind of a general media division headed by Abema TV, right? A slash streaming division headed by Abema TV, as well as sort of the gaming and media and like anime related like media entertainment division headed by Side Games. It allows them to have that sort of face and that sort of branding and marketing capability slash promotion capability with regards to anime and entertainment media. That's why side games and side games studio and animation. That's why it's being created. It's not because it's making them boatloads of money. Um, and so because they have the backing of Cyber Agent and so on, they can afford to do this. But obviously, not every company, right? Not every mobile game studio or whatever has the luxury to. So it is a little bit of an good situation for side games, but it doesn't bode well for other companies. Well,
It'd be really cool if we finally get Uma Musume in
well,
English.
we did get in English. Okay, you
I'm
talking
sorry,
about
I don't speak Korean.
or yeah, Nippongonese. But yeah, anyways, um, thank you, Toast, for your shout out and call out. I guess my shout out and call out shout out goes to Kohara Konomi because I've been really enjoying the videos on her channel recently. And
Hi, what you
my
doing?
what?
What you doing over there?
A lot of it's just kind of like doing collabs with like doing cute collabs with like other voice actresses and then like going on like boats, but then like the studio the management is like management of our channel and stuff like that are like playing pranks on her and stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
little cute stuff like
And you call VTubers simps.
that. I will admit that a lot of the um I just like even if like voice actors slash actresses do like really stupid stuff, I'll just watch it. But I will also say that I'm pretty partial in terms of like I kind of just like run the gamut. Like I will literally watch like Nakamura Yuichi just do like camping stuff for like an hour.
So you're saying she's your Oshi?
Quad economy? I don't know, but shit, I don't really. I just like it when like voice actresses do like stupid shit. I don't know whether I have like an Oshi. I've never thought of them as like. I really don't tend to people like content creators and stuff like that as idols in general. But in either case,
It doesn't have to be about idol aspire I'm sorry. Who do you stan? Is that a better word? Stan
yeah, I
originates
mean, I
from like
don't. That's like a
K-pop, right?
general like idol. I don't stand any content creator or whatever. I just like if they do funny stuff, they do funny stuff. If they
This
don't
guy
do
doesn't
funny
even
stuff,
stan his
I
own
just
podcast.
leave.
Oh,
If somebody like that I used to like, even like somebody like Sukita or whatever, like if they're not making funny videos, I just stop watching them. I'm not like, whoa, I gotta fucking watch like every boring video. Okay,
hey man,
whatever.
don't 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 disrespect my admiration of the Sausage Man. I'll watch every video that guy puts out.
But on that note, my call out is to like the people who I mean, like there are a lot of people who are just like the English VTubers and like small time VTubers and whatever on both the Japanese and the English speaking side that are kind of like leaving or taking breaks or whatever stuff like that. And I not necessarily like the I'm not necessarily calling out those people. Yeah, I'm not really calling out those people. I'm calling out like the community for like reacting. This is so sad. Oh my god, like blah blah, and like acting like this is like like BTS going to army or whatever the fuck that is. Like I just hate it when people act so like disappointed and dramatic over like some whoever like VTuber leaving or whatever, because it's just like this is what they do. I'm sorry to say, like I'll probably sound a little bit misogynistic at this point, and I freely admit that. But it's like these like cam girls, cosplay girls, Nico Nico girls, VTuber girls, female streamers have been doing this since their Nico Nico days. They've just been streaming for, they'll stream for like 3 months and then leave for like a month without telling anybody, or like leave because of XYZ reasons. And they like come back and stream for like 2 days and then leave again for like another, 4 months. And then, they did that during their Twitch casting days, right? They'll comment, like tweet and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna regularly stream, guys," and they'll do that for like months, and then they'll stop, and that will be like the last, tweet slash tweet casting will be like in 2018, and then they'll come back in like 2020 or whatever, and then it's the same with the VTuber girl. It's like they'll just leave, and then like, oh, we'll take an indefinite break or whatever the fuck, and then without any notice, they'll come back and do this shit rigmarole all over again. So I personally have never really been like, well, like the first like one or two times when I saw like a Japanese content creator or like one of these kind of like streamers kind of do that shit, I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. But then like everybody, like I just noticed that like all of these people are doing it like all the time, except for like the exception again is like workhorse people. Like again, I always point out Kanan, right? She's like a freaking workhorse,
Yeah.
being very consistent throughout her career. But like beyond that, she's the exception to the rule. And beyond that, these girls like are very flitty. And maybe that's like a mentality to be that sort of like streamer. But like they go in, they dip out, they take breaks, they come in, they say they'll, do consistent streaming. They'll dip out after like 2 months, blah blah blah. So it's always kind of like that. And it's really like stupid to see these like community people, like people in the community being like, can't believe this is happening. Oh my god! Like every fucking time, like they leave or take a break or graduate or come back on another name or graduate again or whatever the fuck, and it's just like really annoying. So call outs to those people. Um, but yeah, that was
You know
my
what,
shout
Spire?
out.
Let me ask: how many times has a person quit their VTubing job to make their dreams come true, and it actually happened? I can only think of one example.
I mean, I don't
Don't say any names, Spire.
honestly. The thing is like if they want to do it, like outside of like the success rate or whatever it is, right? Like if they want to do it, I don't mind them doing it, and I don't think it's like some sort of crime for them to be flitty, right? Be very like transient in their stuff, because at the end of the day, it's just like a streaming kind of thing. Like unless you are literally like making a proper living from the streaming job and consistent stuff, and you're doing that consistently with regular streams, um, it's like a transient side hobby, right? And that's okay to be like, oh well, fuck it, I don't want to be streaming games to all these creepy nerds who are trying to all find my location all the time, right? Maybe I'll just take a break. It's kind of okay to be like that, but what annoys me is people being like, I can't believe these girls are doing that when they've literally seen these girls doing that for like 10 years, 10 plus years now, like on the edge of that. So
You call
that's
it
the part.
transient inflating, Spire, but is it transient when they're making big money by being a VTuber?
Well, that's
I've
what I'm
seen
saying.
some
Like
big
I
it's
mean,
names.
one thing to be
if your
like,
content is not consistent, then yeah,
yeah.
you're pretty transient. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that like beyond those people who are legitimately like both either having their own jobs or have a big enough thing where they have like a manager and a crew and they're really affecting like a big like operation. But even then, these girls tend to be um again transient in their beliefs, in their consistency a lot of times, and again it's just a part of how they stream, it's a part of how they approach streaming and doing cam girl stuff or doing whatever. And again, if that's part of their hustle or lack of hustle, that's whatever. But I think it's the audience being like shocked and like, oh my god, I'm so disappointed. I'm so like depressed. This is all over now. When it's pretty obvious that like 90% of them are probably going to, or at least half of them are probably going to come back in like a few months or whatever, complaining about some shit or the other. Um, you know, it's just a cycle. It's a very like circle of life kind of thing. So I've never been too like um depressed really over anybody leaving. It is what they do. They are very
You see,
in
says
and
that
out.
now until his Oshi retires. Then he'll be sad.
I will be very sad when I think there'll
Who's your
be
Oshi and Niji Sanji's fire? You know you have one.
Sanji. The closest person I had to an Oshi was Kibara, and I was not that. I mean, I was kind of like, I was slightly sad, I guess, when Kibara left, but I wasn't like, I kind of knew it was pretty obvious that she'll be back. Like all of these people make it back. They're like cockroaches, um, in a good way. They're like good cockroaches, but Kibara was probably the closest person. But I think going back to the voice actor comment on like the Oshi or Stan or whatever, I think the closest thing I will be to be like really an era has passed. I'll be super sad when this voice actor leaves, um, or it retires slash passes away potentially. Is probably Wakamoto Norio. I think when
Oh
he
yeah, name one role. Name one role.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, do it, Spy. I got one right now.
So? Like,
You
are
don't
you?
even watch Dragon Ball. How dare you? Give another.
What do you mean? I
What?
don't want.
Yeah, that doesn't count. That doesn't
Yes,
count.
Fire,
You're not a
you've
real
never
Dragon Ball
seen
fan,
Dragon
so
Ball.
that doesn't count.
First of all, I read like all of
No,
Dragon
no,
Ball.
it doesn't,
you
it doesn't
said-
count.
hold on,
It doesn't
hold on.
count. It doesn't count. It doesn't
Spire,
count.
you said voice actor, then you said red. Excuse me? What's wrong with you? See, you didn't watch the anime at all. Give
I mean,
another one.
okay, I guess just like Chio's dad, like Britannia. I
cat?
mean, like, yeah, sure.
You know what my the role I would have accepted was?
What?
I would have accepted Cell, but not from you.
What?
If Nier said Cell, I'd be like, exactly.
I would have said Anderson, but
Acceptable.
I think
Another one's fine.
his another classical one was the Oda Nobunaga, right?
yeah,
Oda
Which
Nobunaga was really
what
good.
series?
Sengoku Basara, right?
yeah, yeah.
Not the one
It's
from
pretty
Dog
good.
Days? Okay.
Well, he did also have a role in Dog Days, but I think that was not Oda Nobunaga. I don't think Oda Nobunaga was in that world. But yeah, but that would be the one voice actor where I'll be super sad. But yeah. Anyways, sorry for dragging this shout out call it out. That is it for our reviews or this podcast. Again, we will have probably 2-3 more episodes of reviews coming up soon. Please let us know if you have any series that you want us to cover for the rest of the reviews. If you like what we do, we cover the latest and greatest in Japanese animation, media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, and so much more. Visual novels as well. We talk about our reviews every other Saturday, starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. That's with a numeral 4. And so we have our recorded podcast here, full VOD, as well as different sections, different anime reviews split up by each section slash series. You have highlights and clips, all available on Twitch as well as on YouTube. So whichever one you desire. We have updates and news appearing on our social media on Facebook, 4PlayerAnimecast, as well as on Twitter at 4PPAnimecast. Again, all with the numeral 4. So check us out here, check us out there. And as always, we'll see you next time.